So it was awesome. It was just awesome. Hold on. We're going to go live on YouTube, my friend.
Okay, go for it.
Hey, everybody on YouTube. Hopefully we have a clean stream for tonight. I really won't know. I was fiddling around with it a little bit earlier, and I don't know what the hell is going on with this system. But we're going to try and make it happen on the YouTube side. Of course, if we start getting a little woozy there with the buffering and everything, just head over to the Spreaker side. It's just Spreaker, Spaced Out Radio. Let's give a shout out to everybody in our chat room so far. The Ronald Penton kicks things off. We have the gorgeous and talented Kira, Mike F., Parts Unknown, Weight Unknown, High Stunning Renee, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and the giant crowd at Scoreboard Bar in Michigan. Let there be rock, people. Oh, yes. Get the horns up for that. All right. Slam, good to see you here. Gorgeous Jules, thanks for coming on in. Boo to Go 66. Who else we got? The Michael Leger, everyone. Be careful. The Michael Leger is in the house. Devin, good to see you here. Crystal Light, Steam Train Mark. I'm thankful that you told me how tomorrow is looking since you're in Australia and that I am alive. Thank you for living in the future, my friend. Little Deborah, good to see you here. The Jim Christie. There he is, everyone. The stunning Becky Belling is here. Yes, she is stunning. Andrew Fricker. Hi, Commonwealth Andrew. Good to have you here. Millennium, always a pleasure to have you here. PG 2424. You know, 24 is my favorite number. Lufon, good to have you here. Thank you for coming on in. From the UK, height unknown, weight unknown, fame unknown, Vector Scalar. Worsley, good to have you here. Know Your Realm. Thanks for coming on in. Cookie, John, Gary the Spudger, everyone. Gary the Spudger is here. Never mess with a good spudging, that's for sure. Evasius, good to see you. Spookles the Cat, you are amazing. I love you. Grendel, kicking off the super chat right off the bat. How are you? Thank you for coming on in. And there he is, the man, the myth, and the cynical legend all rolled into one, PBR. Katie De Lozada from Vancouver, Washington. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us for the first time here. We appreciate it. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Ad Gnome, always a pleasure to have you in Decord. Red-headed Lisa, my hair will arrive soon. Give it a couple of days. Jarhead, many thanks to you for coming on in. Anthony Foster as well. Triple M. Hey, guys, we got a great show tonight, and I know there's going to be more of you. And you know what? Susan Masano, or Masino? Masino or Masano? No, not Masano. That's pronounced wrong. Masino. Masino or Masino? What is it? What is it?
Masino.
Masino. That's what I said right off the bat, damn it. Anyways, Susan Masino is here. We're going to talk some rock and roll. We're going to talk some paranormal. We're going to talk some reincarnation. We're getting into it all. She is literally dropping the gloves on everything awesome that I love tonight, except hockey. Except hockey. I don't think we're getting into hockey with her tonight, but that's okay. Hey, do me a favor on YouTube, because we are counting countries. As you all come on in, please let me know. I know some of the Americans and some of the Canadians, but let me know what country you're in, because I think it's really cool when we see a bunch of beautiful people coming together from different countries and different parts and different cultures of the world to hang out in Spaced Out Radio Land. Thank you so much. Susan Masino is our guest. Throw a .com on there and you got her website, and it's an awesome website. AC/DC talk tonight. Yes. Yes, for those about to rock, we will salute you tonight. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling good about this one. Feeling good. Bill WD-40, good to have you here. And, yeah, I'm getting pumped up for this one. Pumped up. This one's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Hi, Susan. How you doing?
Good.
I'm usually not this much. Excited. Me too. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up.
I know. I'm gonna be up all night after this show.
Me too. Hey, you know what? After the show, come hang out in the YouTube chat, because we're usually around for about another 45 minutes or so.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be in there. All right, let's get, we're going to be on here in about 40 seconds. Davin in Vietnam, good to have you here. Thank you. Recon Havoc, thank you for coming on in. Appreciate you. Rama Flash, good to have you back. Bama, boom. Boom! There he is. Bama. And who else we got here? That's about it. That's good. Good enough for right now. I got to get this final tweet out. Super Chat is open. Grendel has kicked things off for tonight. Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate that. Much love to you. And you know what? What do you say we do a radio show like right now? Music is coming on. And don't forget, a good way to support this show is go to our Spaced Out Radio website, join the Space Travelers Club, and do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. We're going to have one hell of a show tonight. Let's do this thing, shall we? Get your horns up. Cable Guy Matt's here, everybody. Don't forget, you can get your free piece of coaxial cable courtesy of Cable Guy Matt. It is autographed, limit 1 per household. You cannot buy these in stores. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, especially if you're listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio digitally. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by CHIVE Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting CHIVE Charities today. You can find them on our website. Let there be rock tonight on Spaced Out Radio, as Susan Masino has been a rock journalist for over 30 years and has written a few books on this subject. She has appeared in projects with well-known bands Van Halen and AC/DC. Susan has been interested in the paranormal since age 5 as well. She has a book out called Secrets of the Universe, where she dives into her lifelong passion of the spiritual and paranormal side of life. Yes, most of her life, Masino has been interested in everything that goes boo or bump in the night, culminating in a self-published book called The Secrets of the Universe. Over the past 10 years, she has investigated, reported on, and experienced the paranormal. Her website, SusanMasino.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Susan Masino, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Get your horns up. Let's rock this thing out. How about it?
Hey, Dave. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm really excited.
Well, we got to thank veteran Marty, because we love our veterans around here. And Marty was like, "You got to get her on. You have to." And we're like, okay, Marty has a pretty good opinion of what he wants to hear. So we give a shout out to Marty. He's one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show, as we love all of our men, women, and others who have served in uniform across this beautiful planet we call Earth. We love you so much, and thank you for tuning on in. Susan, I got to ask you, age 5 is a very early indoctrination into the paranormal. How did that happen?
Well, actually, it came from my grandmother. She would tell us stories at night as we're falling asleep. And this actually ended up repeating in my family, but at the time when I was very little, she told us about the fact that her mother, had passed even before I was born, I think. And she talked about how her mother appeared to her in her bedroom after she passed to say goodbye. And that blew my head wide open. It scared me, but it made me very curious of Grandma doesn't lie, so she wouldn't make it up. So is it good or bad? How did she do it? And will she do it again? So there you go.
Did she? Now you got me curious.
Well, years later, when my grandmother did pass away, my father claimed that she came to him a while later after she passed to say goodbye. And then what's really crazy is 2 weeks before my father died, he came to me in a dream and told me he was leaving. And we were able, my sister and I and our families, we were able to see him right before he passed.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What's that like to get a message so close from a grandparent or a loved one to say that they're leaving?
Oh, it's very sad. I mean, my dad had a lot of health problems by then, and he came, and it was so, I can still see it today. It was so vivid. And he came to my house, and we walked. He was telling me that he was leaving. He said, "I'm out of here." And I followed him out of the house, and I stopped him, and I said, "Well, you have to let us be able to say goodbye. Please don't leave without us letting us say goodbye." And then we actually had to call the police for a wellness check because he was living with his ex-wife, and she wasn't communicating anything to us.
Oh, goodness, that's
so
sad.
If I wouldn't have had the dream, he just would have passed, and we would have heard about it afterwards. So he showed up and told me, "Hey, I'm out of here." And we saw him, and we saw him, and he passed within 48 hours.
Interesting. So
yeah.
when you were going through that, I mean, through that emotional upheaval, I mean, you must have been a little bit confused when all of a sudden, just a few days earlier, your dad is coming to you saying, "Yeah, I've already got my bags packed. I'm pretty much getting ready to check out and move on to the next scene."
Oh yeah, no, I was living in Madison at the time in Wisconsin, and my sister was in Milwaukee, and I called her the next day, and I said, I just told her, I said, "Dad came to me last night. He's going to die soon, and we have to try to get up there to see him." And she's the one that called the police, and the police went and did a wellness check, and then we found out that he was terminally ill and extremely serious, and we had no idea until I had that dream.
Wow.
So I'm very grateful that he and that's so like him too. He to show up and say, not like "Goodbye, I love you, I'll miss you." It's like, "I'm out of here."
That sounds like something my father would do. Totally my father as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No emotion about it. He was just like, "I'm done. I'm out of here." And I'm like, "Well, okay, give us time, give us a little bit of time." But yeah, it was great that we got to see him and everything. But as a kid, though, the grandmother thing, that caused all kinds of confusion for years. And when I was in middle school, the only man that really wrote about it was Hans Holzer. That was the only book I could find.
Oh, wow.
And I think his first book was back in the 60s. And he was literally like the first ghost hunter. So that's really a fascinating person they actually did a TV show recently on based on the files of Hans Holzer.
Yes, Dave Schrader. Dave Schrader is a good friend of this show.
Yeah.
And we had him on talking about it a few weeks ago. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, that I just grabbed anything I could find in it. In those days, there was hardly nothing. But this was middle school, so I mean,
Oh, I hear you.
It was in the 60s.
Now, growing up in a life of woo, the way you had, was your childhood different from a lot of your friends because you had all of this, some may say a plethora of paranormal activity?
Oh yeah, no, I'm writing a book called Stories to Tell because I have about 1,000 of them. And when I was really little, I had the awareness of being here, like being back on Earth. And I wasn't from here, I didn't belong here, and I was not happy about coming back here, to tell you the truth. When I got to that wherewithal about 5, 6, 7 years old, that I was like, wait a minute, I'm on Earth again? Seriously? So, and then when I lived up north in Wisconsin, Wisconsin's a very spiritual state. There's lots of effigy mounds and, such great history with the Native Americans. And I used to try to go to sleep at night, and this is when I realized, something was really different, was when I'd go to sleep, whoever came in, and there was more than one, they would sit up along the ceiling and talk to me. And they used to irritate me, actually, because I thought, if my parents hear you, I'm going to get yelled at. So I used to sit up in bed and say, "Zip it." I've had enough. So it was very, the other side was very close all the time.
I just, I can't imagine like what it would be like growing up as a child, having all of those situations happen because, I had a relatively boring childhood compared to people like you who had all of this spiritual type activity. Were there aliens involved too?
There, I don't know what they were that came into my room at night. I mean, I'd like to say they were maybe my spirit guides. They could have been aliens. I mean, I was up in northern Wisconsin, so, anything goes up there. But also, I didn't know what these were till I was older, but I had constant out-of-body experiences as I was falling asleep during that same time period.
See, that's what freaks me out, Susan, is these out-of-body experiences. Okay, like I've astral traveled before. That's pretty cool. But, actually leaving your body and having, going on these adventures with that long silver cord that people talk about that's like rubbery, and the more you pull on it to get back in your body, the longer it goes because you're pulling out length. I don't want that. That is one experience I do not want to have. It sounds so freaky.
Oh, it was as a kid, but when I really started becoming more and more awake in my 20s, my early 20s, and the experience that I had of the out of body as an adult or, a young adult, and it's amazing. I went back to sleep early in the morning. It was cold, sunny outside, but I got up super early, so I decided to fall back asleep for a little while, and I was sleeping, and then all of a sudden I'm staring at the wall and ceiling with the sun shining in. And I remember looking at it and thinking, wait a minute, I thought I went to sleep, and then I looked down and I saw my body in bed sleeping, and as soon as I saw it, boom, I snapped right back into my body.
Oh, see that just that I don't want that. Don't want it at all. Just seems too scary.
You do that every night when you sleep,
Yeah, well, I don't know about it. So it is all good. Where did your love of music come from?
Oh, gee, that's easy. Again, my parents, when I was born, they owned the Riverview Ballroom in Sauk City, Wisconsin. Along the river. It was the mid-'50s. I was born a couple years after they had bought the place, but they had Louis Armstrong, the Dorsey brothers, Lawrence Welk, all these people come through. And I was literally, my dad used to tease me because he said when I was first born, all they would do, is put me in a stroller in front of the jukebox because, they were working. So, and God forbid if he ran out of quarters. So, that's where it started. And then I literally remember laying in my crib at night, bored, literally, and hearing the music through the walls because we were in a one-bedroom apartment on the ground floor of the ballroom. So I could hear the music. And then I saw, as I got older, we owned a hotel, bar, and restaurant up north, and then there was a restaurant down in Lodi, Wisconsin, and they always had live music. So I fell in love with the life of them showing up and setting up and performing. And, it was just, I love music and I love the people, like how much they put into it. It was very fascinating to me.
This reminds me of a quick story, if you don't mind. When my little guy was still in the womb, I used to, put my iPhone up to my partner's stomach. And because I'm a diehard GNR fan, I would play Guns N' Roses for him. Because, you can't start a kid off on Paradise City too young. You know what I'm saying? It's just the greatest song ever. And, anybody who argues that outside of Freebird, I'm going to say you're wrong. Okay, I will. Anyways, moving on. So as my son was born and then started, getting into the teething stage when, it's just uncontrollable. Any parent knows that stage, and we all will take a big sigh and roll our eyes on that one. So what I used to do, I used to play GNR for him. And my partner, she just didn't understand. And one day we're traveling and going over to my parents' house. and the young lad is having just a meltdown in his car seat, just a meltdown. And all of a sudden on our satellite radio, GNR pops up. I said, watch this. Bang. Sweet Child of Mine comes on. He goes from instant wailing to instant silence. We had 4 minutes, 39 seconds of bliss and peace, because as soon as the song ended, boom, there it was. The tears were right back. Right back. I think it's absolutely great. I mean, hey, anytime you can get a plethora of GNR in at that young age, you go for it. Or any type of metal or hard rock. At least that's my thinking.
Oh, God. I mean, tell me about it. It's like my son, who's 26 now, grew up on AC/DC. And, they were part of the family, basically. And but he'd never seen them or, live or anything until he was 14, and they went out. They decided to do the Black Ice album and tour. And you get the, oh, God, Mom, I'm going to meet him, right? And at that time, I hadn't seen him in 7 years and stuff. They were totally on a hiatus. I'd actually seen Cliff and Brian in 2007. But anyway, what happened was he ended up seeing the show, meeting Angus and Malcolm, getting a picture with them. Angus gave him his guitar pick that he'd been using all night.
Oh, wow.
and it was a huge vindication for me, because this kid really grew up on AC/DC. And if that, I wouldn't have been able to pull that off. It would have never been the same.
Well, it's just amazing watching kids when they get around their music idols. Or I was a sports reporter for a number of years, so watching kids and their faces when the athletes were around, it's such a beautiful thing to watch, because that child just loves everything about that person. That is their hero. And just a couple of weeks ago, my son celebrated his 7th birthday. And I surprised him with a video call on FaceTime with Ron Bumblefoot THAL. And Bumblefoot actually, I thought he would just say, hi, happy birthday, have a good day, and leave. No, he sang happy birthday, talked to my son, talked to him about guitars. My son was just absolutely excited. Like, it took about 15 minutes out of his evening to do that. And for me, I'm like, as a parent, you don't want to eat up too much of their time. And you're like, come on, do I hang up now? Do I not? But no, they just kept going. And it was amazing. Like, my son had to show him his birthday cake and all of this kind of stuff. And that's what makes it worth it. Because in the end, I think a lot of times, because we see these people on stage, we almost think that they are larger than humanity, when in reality, they're just people like you and I as well.
Oh, God. I mean, that's so true for like a band like AC/DC. They've never let it go to their heads of who they are, almost to a point of that they're not. I've always felt like Angus never really stepped into the role of being like as great as he is. He always downplays his role in rock and roll and everything. I mean, it's, Malcolm did it and this and that, and he's always shy about that. And it's kind of cute, because it's like, no, Angus, really. I mean, you're like super famous. One time I told him, because I was supposed to get back to see him, and somebody put us in a room, and I couldn't get in to go down the hall to see him. And when I finally did, he was kind of bummed at me, because he's like, where have you been? And I'm like, oh, really? You really want to know where I've been? And I showed him that I'd been captive at the United Center in Chicago. And I was a little bit testy. So we broke out laughing when I said, I think the Pope has got to be easier to see than you. So
how do you take that?
Oh, he burst out laughing, because I said, could you get any more famous, do you think? It's like such an irritation, because we go back. When I met them, they had no money. Nobody knew them in the United States, and they've worn the same clothes. They've saved millions on wardrobe. It's astounding.
I can't believe that Angus Young only brings 3 guitars on a world tour, and his newest guitar, I believe, is like a 1981 SG. His newest one. Mm-hmm. Like,
yep.
I mean, I was watching a video a couple of months ago about his guitar tech, how he basically, after every show, almost has to rebuild the guitar because Angus sweats so much on stage that he literally fries the guitar as he's playing it. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, no, it's known that he literally loses 5 pounds per show because of the sweating. So he puts so much into his performance and the fact that what I love the most about the band, well, not, there's a million things, but the fact that they plug into their Marshalls and that's it. There's no pedals, there's no wah-wah, there's no nothing going on except for pure, right from the heart, right, straight shooting rock and roll. And the story I love is when they were on the Monsters of Rock tour with Van Halen and Scorpions and a bunch of bands like that. And I think the tech for Van Halen put together this whole thing, this whole board of effects on the floor. For Angus, it was a gift. And he brought him up on stage, and Eddie came up to see it, and Angus looked at it like, what do you want me to do with that? And the guy's like, you can try like any of these. And Eddie goes, well, I like that stuff. And Angus just looked over at him. And he says, take it, mate. You can use it.
No way. How did he, we only got about 2 minutes to go here. How did Angus, because he's the most polarizing figure on AC/DC, how did he get the schoolboy outfit?
Oh, just because every day after school, a lot of times when he had to wear a uniform to school, he wouldn't change. He would come home, dump his stuff, grab his guitar, and go right to rehearsal. And when they dressed up in a lot of different outfits until he settled on the schoolboy thing, and the rest of them dropped outfits. But at one time, they looked like oh my God, I can't think of them now. But the cop and the chief and that band.
People. The Village People.
Yes, exactly. They, Malcolm was like a pilot, and, so they tried a bunch of different things, and then it just all fell away, and they kind of kept the schoolboy thing because they all thought, Angus always had to tell them that he was of age to come into the club, and they never believed that because of how little he was. So it just kind of stuck.
I think that's amazing. I mean, they are iconic, and I've seen them a couple times in concert in Vancouver, and the one thing that I will say is, you go to a concert like that, it's amazing how many people you see ranging from their single digits, like 5, 6, 7 years old, wearing headphones, all the way into their 70s and 80s, because the AC/DC just has that power on people.
Oh, they're universal, and they bring so much joy. That's what the really cool thing about their live concerts. You go out of there just walking on air.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're so pumped up and happy, and, it's pure joy. It really is.
Absolutely. We are going to get you to hold on right there tonight, because we are going to be talking rock and roll and reincarnation, everything paranormal, with our guest tonight, Susan Masino. And I'll tell you, if you want to find her books, just go to susanmasino.com. You can find them online on Amazon as well. She writes about everything. She is so talented, and I love her voice. She has got that old school rock and roll DJ voice. You could tell that is trained radio right there, my friends. Trained radio. More with Susan on Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. Oh my God, that flew by.
Wow.
Holy shit.
That seemed like about 10 minutes.
I know. I am pumped up for this one.
That was crazy.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was really crazy. Well, thank you about the voice thing, because I've had people say not only do they think I'm a guy on the phone, but
I love it.
It's hilarious. No, when I try to impersonate a guy, then they're like, yes, ma'am, how can we help you? But this voice is like, it's weird, because like I cannot speak to someone in 20 years and call them and they know it's me right away. So,
yes.
I can't pull pranks on anybody.
No, absolutely. Scoreboard Bar in Michigan, every time we see, hold on, I got to bring it up here. Hold on. I got a list here. They've got the entire bar listening to us tonight, okay? The entire bar, and there's over 100 people in there right now. All right, so hi, Scoreboard Bar. How you doing? All right, so these are the rules. They play a drinking game on this show. So every time we say the words AC/DC, now these ones don't count, by the way. I'm reading the rules here because I forgot to Susan. Every time we use the words AC/DC, Van Halen, Patrons, all right, and the word plethora, okay, they all got to buy a round. Everybody in the bar has to buy a round for themselves or buy themselves a drink, okay? If we use the word rock outside of Let There Be Rock, the bar has to buy. If we use the word woo, the bar has to buy. And if we use the statement Let There Be Rock, the entire bar is going to take a shot at tequila.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I have a feeling we are going to get some right fucked up people tonight. Pardon my language.
This is great. Oh, my God.
Welcome to Spaced Out Radio.
I would join them, but then, I'll just get slurry. It won't work.
Yeah. Hey, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, when we do your conference at your bar there, we got to have Susan come up for this because she's got to rock with us and tell us AC/DC stories. Absolutely, she does. Oh, yeah. We'll make that we'll make that shit happen. We'll make that happen. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's just awesome. This is just awesome. Yeah, this is almost every night that we last night we set a new YouTube record for our listeners on YouTube. We hit 186.
Really?
Yeah, we hit 186 concurrent viewers. That's our record for YouTube during a live show, which is cool. All right, we have a couple questions that we ask every new guest on this show, Susan. And hey, welcome to our chat room. And so the first question is, what are your thoughts on eating breakfast for dinner?
I love breakfast, and I eat it. I have eaten it for dinner, and especially after bar time. So, yep.
All right.
Yep, I'm a breakfast lover.
All right.
But not in the morning. I'm sleeping then.
Yeah, but you have a different schedule. You got a wonky schedule. So for you eating breakfast for lunch or breakfast for dinner, you may have got in at like 6 a.m. because you're a party girl. And then... yeah. And then, you go to bed and then you eat breakfast when you get up. So I'm okay with that. I will give you a pass on that. Okay? I will give you. All right. Yeah. I'll give you a pass. Now, the second question that we ask every new guest here is Devil's Tower from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I'm sure you're familiar with. All right?
Uh-huh.
Is it a tree stump or a giant rock? Are you on Team Rock or are you on Team Stump?
Oh, Team Stump for sure.
Yes. Yes. All right. This is just getting better and better and better. All right. Oh, yeah. Yes. It is very, very cool. Very cool. All right. Uh-huh. We have 1 minute left before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. And Susan Masino is our guest tonight. All right. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun tonight. I'm going to be honest with you. Don't tell anybody, Susan. I feel like I'm having a little bit of a fat day today. I know. My hair looks perfect today, but I absolutely feel like I'm having a fat day today. Yeah. Yeah,
no, I know. I mean, yeah.
I know. It sucks.
I feel that when I put my jeans on and try to go out of the house.
Tell me about it.
It sucks. Yeah, but I live on the third floor, and I have 38 concrete steps up and 38 down.
Yeah.
So, well, that's my gym.
Good for you. All right. Hold on, everyone. We're going to get going here with the second half hour. Susan Masino, thank you to Grendel for the super chat. The super chat is open. Make sure you hit that thumbs up or down, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let's get this thing going right now. Music's on. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, getting ready to rock with you tonight. We appreciate you tuning us in. Reminder that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. On Instagram, you can follow us at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Author, paranormal experiencer, life adventurer, AC/DC fan, Van Halen, David, and Sammy. Yes, our guest tonight, Susan Masino, has been there, done it all. She's written about it. You can find any of her books on Amazon. SusanMasino.com is her website, and we're talking a little bit of rock and roll here with Susan. I got to find out, David or Sammy?
David. I'm sorry. Sammy with the keyboards and the love songs, that wasn't Van Halen.
Love walks in, though. Love walks in. It's all about an alien.
No. Nope. No. No, I saw Van Halen, even before most people did, in a club. Actually, I saw him twice in a club. And with David and the songs, and it was guitar driven. There's nothing like it. Sammy, the love songs, the keyboards, just sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, going back to AC/DC then. Bon Scott or Brian Johnson?
Oh, Bon Scott, but I love Brian just as much.
So you can't go wrong with Bon Scott because he's the one who made bagpipes in rock and roll a cool thing.
Oh, then the lyrics. I mean, I love Bon for a billion reasons, but his lyrics are just, they're really, really off the hook on how funny they were. All the innuendos he used. Everything was funny to him.
Yeah.
He was ready to party.
Just too bad it led him down to a very dark, deep, deathly path. That's the only problem.
I know, and it did, but it was very strange because he had been drinking like that for quite a while, and it wasn't unusual, is what I'm trying to say. But Bon was never drunk in the studio, never drunk on stage, never missed a gig except one gig, and that's kind of a side story there. He was partying and missed playing, but other than that, he wasn't always drinking. So for him to have died like that, and just like the craziest, I mean, no one saw that happen, coming at all, because Bon was Bon. He was just in the studio with Angus and Malcolm. He actually helped work out the drum part in "Have a Drink on Me." So he was all ready to go.
Wow!
And then he left.
Now I got to ask you, and I asked Ron Bumblefoot THAL this when he came on back in May. All right, you're a real big fan of the paranormal. Have any of these rock stars and musicians that you have met up with over the years ever talked to you about paranormal experiences while on the road?
Not so much while they're on the road. And actually, of all the bands that I've talked to, the only one really that had the tragedy was AC/DC with losing Bon. And it's funny how, decades later, when I see Angus or when I saw Angus and Malcolm, we always talked about Bon. like he was always there, even though it was 30, 40 years later. But Bon comes to me in my dreams, which he has several times. And he's so funny. But when I was writing my book, the original copy came out in 2006, The Story of AC/DC, Let There Be Rock. There you go. There's your tequila shot, people.
Yes. All right, let's hold on. Let's have a little clap for that at Scoreboard Bar. They're gonna have to all have a little nice shot of tequila there for saying "Let there be rock."
Have a drink on me.
Exactly. You're welcome. You are welcome. Fantastic.
Yes,
Continue on,
welcome.
please. Continue on, please.
But Bon, when I started writing the book, I was asked to write this book. I had only written 2 books before, and they were my own stories in rock and roll fantasy, and then I was asked to write famous Wisconsin musicians for a series of books out of Wisconsin. So they approached me to write the book about AC/DC, and even though I'd known them for years, for a major publisher, it was terrifying. For me, totally terrifying, and I would have panic attacks, like working, because my son was little, so I waited till about 10. I used to write between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., and a lot of nights before I went to bed at 3 a.m., I would have major panic attacks on, like, oh my God, I'm never going to get this done. I believe I was writing about 1977, I swear, for 6 weeks. I'm like, you got to get out of that year. You only got 30 more to cover. And the one night that I totally lost it, hyperventilating, the whole 9 yards, I begged Bon for help, and he came to me in my dream that night, and it was very vivid. And he was laughing at me. And he was saying, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. The book is great. It's going to be great. And when I said I felt sad that he had died so young, and he just laughed at me and he says, oh, Susie, it was my time to go. He just, like, silly of me to be, sad. And that's why I like to remember him that way, because he's still out there. People talk about him every day.
That is awesome. What a nice tribute. What a beautiful tribute for you to say that. Now, being a psychic medium and and I don't know if you consider yourself, maybe you're clairvoyant, maybe you're intuitive. I don't know which adjective you want to use to describe yourself. But when you're having those experiences and being in the journalistic position that you are in, you just can't say to the people that surrounding, oh, by the way, I'm in psychic communication with Bon Scott, can you?
No, you end up writing a book about it, so you can tell people. But a lot of my friends know about it, and it's really crazy because honestly, I've kept a journal, because when I see any band member in my dream, sometimes all of them, sometimes just Angus, might be just once a year, maybe every 2 years, but I write it down and I date it. And I'm not kidding. Every single one of those dreams have manifested in the future. Really? Can you give us an example? The biggest one, honestly, was, let me think, 2005. I had a vivid dream. I was working on my book too, so it wasn't unusual for me to be thinking about the guys. And so I'm outside on a sunny day. I'm in Europe, and they're going to play one of their big shows that I always wanted to see them play. A European outdoor concert. And I was with Angus and Malcolm, and we were laughing at the tour manager because he was arguing with a roadie who was speaking Italian. And I wrote that down, and I thought, cool. Am I going to see them in Italy? 5 years later, and, a lot of people say, well, yeah, you went and bought yourself a ticket and went to Italy. That's not at all what happened. I was invited to Italy. I did a book signing the day before their show, and then I got to see them on a bright, sunny day in Udine, Italy, 5 years after I dreamed it. No kidding. How many people were there? 47,000. Wow. That's a big mosh pit. Yeah. Oh, if the Italians, they don't check for stuff. So during Shot Down in Flames, they had a bonfire going on down in the middle on the ground. No kidding. Like a big one. Yeah. They're dancing around the bonfire, and we were up in the stadium seats. We were up in the VIP section because literally the lieutenant governor of Northern Italy paid for my trip. So, there you go. But I was shocked at the bonfire. I was like, can they do that? And my friend Mario and Danny, who were kind of my sponsors over there, he just laughed. He goes, yeah, this is Italy. They don't check the backpacks.
Well, hence all the soccer hooligans in the stands, which I think promotes hooliganism all around the world, which is, very dangerous. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't like soccer. So, I mean, we'll just move on from there. But in regards to, having that type of communication, you as a journalist, and I want to take a step back here for a second, you have a plethora of stories that you need to write. And in this case, it's AC/DC. And how do you how do you divide the spiritual side of you with the professional side of you in order to do the job properly? Because, I mean, I've talked to people who are literally getting messages as they're interviewing people, and it's very much difficult for them to separate the two. How do you do it?
I don't at all, actually. I didn't know this because the first book I wrote for myself. So to prove I could do it, and I didn't have a deadline. The second one, I had a deadline, and I kind of learned, the way and everything. But when I did the AC/DC book, and I did a book on the Hank Williams family, I have to be there to write about it mentally. So I eat, sleep, dream about it, haunted by it. I'm going to say right out, the family tradition, 3 generations of Hank Williams, that book almost killed me, literally. So I can't separate the two. It's me, because a lot of the stuff that I write, which it sounds kind of, when I'm in the zone and I'm going at it, I'll go back and read it and not remember writing it, which is kind of freaky, but does happen. So I'm in the flow, so I can't separate it. I think I'm an intuitive empath, and I think that helps me experience the story I'm trying to write about instead of just write about it. But it's not very healthy because, like I said, when I was writing the Hank book, oh my God, not good. Don't live like Hank while you're writing about him. It was rough.
When you are channeling these spirits, it doesn't matter whether they're famous or not. Are they entering your body, or are they communicating with you telepathically or spiritually speaking?
Pretty much. I will hear people at sometimes. I will hear words being said to me, but most of the time it's just it's weird. It has to be telepathic, but it's faster because it's just like it's something I know. Well, how do you know that? I don't know. I just know it. So especially when, because I do a little remote viewing. I've found several items for my family members, so they're kind of impressed. But when I get my best information is when I first let myself tap into it. And that's for everybody. When you get that gut instinct and something is telling you something's right or something's wrong, you got to listen to that. Because that's the voice you need to listen to, even if it's not a voice, if you know what I mean.
Yes, absolutely. So when you get that type of communication happening, how do you know it's not just imagination, but it's real from the person on the other side?
Well, I guess, 2 things, like with what happened with Bon is when he first came to tell me about the book I was going to write a year before I got the deal. I hadn't dreamed about him for many years, and it was so vivid. The next day I got up and I actually cried when I first woke up because it was a dream. And I thought to myself, why would I have such a dream that was so real? Was it real, really? And as I said, I used to write late at night. And later that day, my husband had called me from work, and he said, hey, you forgot to turn that light off last night when you went to bed. And I said, what light? And we had big light lamps on either side of the couch, and then I had my own lamp on my desk where I wrote. I never used those lamps at night, ever, when I was writing. So that was my signal the next day that Bon was there. Somebody turned that lamp on. And I think it was his way, because I really doubted it extremely. I was kind of angry almost that I'm like, why? Why does this have to feel so good? And then I wake up and it's not real. And it was kind of Bon's way of going, oh, really? You don't believe it, huh? So, and he did haunt me once when I was writing about him in particular. I was upstairs writing, my son's asleep, and my ex is in the basement working in the studio because he's a musician. And I'm writing, and that's like nobody should ever talk to me when I'm writing, because it's like seeing a unicorn. You don't want to scare it away. And and I'm writing, and my husband comes up the stairs and he goes, "What? And I turned around and I'm like, what do you want? And he goes, "You've been yelling at me. What do you want?" I said, "I haven't been yelling at you. I'm writing." He says, "Whatever." I don't think he believed me, and he stomped back downstairs. So I went back to writing. And as I'm writing, I hear this voice right next to my ear go, and I jumped up because I thought it was my ex screwing with me. I jumped up and looked, and there was nobody there. And I sat back down, and I looked to my right, and I said, "Okay, Bon, you can read over my shoulder, but quit making noise."
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, okay, this could be total woo here. Okay. Actually, it's going to be complete woo. All right.
Okay.
When you talk to musicians who have crossed over to the other side, is there a gathering of musicians over there welcoming, hey, like for instance, a good friend of mine, Jamie, his best friend was Vinnie Paul, who passed away a couple of years ago from a heart attack. And I don't know, maybe it's my imagination, but I could all of a sudden see like Dimebag and Jimi Hendrix and all of these famous musicians and guitarists like, "Hey man, we just got one of the greatest drummers ever to join us. Let's jam." Like, have you ever tried to communicate with these people, whether it's Bon Scott or Merle Haggard or whomever, to see if there is a big jam session going on up there? Because when I die, I want to watch that. I want to watch that bad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. And I feel that way. Sorry. I feel that way, especially with, like after George Young passed, Malcolm passed just a month later, maybe less than a month later. And now I see, I did not meet George, so I can't say I know him. But I have seen Malcolm and Bon many times, and they screw with me. They they do all kinds of stuff, and especially when you don't believe it, like you totally like, "Oh, I don't have any faith in anything today," and then something crazy will happen, and it's always they love to mess with people and make you laugh. And it's just, they're so cool. I mean, and the best part about knowing them is knowing all the people I know because of them. Because there's just, like you said, there's millions of people that love the band.
Yes.
And that it's really cool to be part of that.
Okay, I gotta find out, because I am such a GNR fan. Okay, what was Ghost Bon Scott's reaction to Axl Rose filling in for Brian Johnson?
Oh, I think he loved it. I went and saw them at the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, and I went there extremely skeptical. No offense against Axl, but hey, that's my band, man. Bon or Brian, that's what you get. Axl, okay. I was very impressed. He did a really, really great job. And he sang some songs that I haven't heard in a while. One of my favorite songs, when they lit into "If You Want Blood, You Got It," oh my God. It was wonderful. But I have to say something funny about, with Axl, because, okay, we're in Atlanta. Seven Dust was there. Collective Soul was there. The guys from Walking Dead was there. It was crazy. Everybody wanted to see the band. Axl's in the band. It was a big deal. And we're, out in the audience, and I can see the stage. I'm stage right, pretty much level with the stage, so I can see what's going on pretty well. And the thing about you don't realize that working with Angus on stage is a talent in itself because of how much he moves. And Bon and Brian kind of had that down, and Axl, he's kind of walking into it as a new guy, even though he's had lots of time on stage. And the very first song, the very first 2 minutes on stage, Axl was moving backwards, and I saw Angus was coming right at him. And I thought, oh, God, no. And right at the last second, Axl must have seen him out of the corner of his eye because he took his heel and did a 180 and went in the other direction.
Oh, yes.
And I had to laugh because I was like, not as easy as you thought it was, is it?
No. Well,
cool.
When he had 3 guitarists there before the reunion, so when they had Richard Fortus, Ron Bumblefoot, THAL, and TJ Ashba, having to battle 3 guitarists who were running around stage, I'm sure he got his peripheral vision pretty working pretty darn good in order to do that. So,
oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, and especially with Angus, he's always running. So, if you're going to hit him or you end up tripping him or something, it'll be major.
Well, he's only about 75 pounds. I mean, is he going to really hit the ground hard, or is he going to float down like a feather? We don't know.
I know. No, I think if he got hit in the wrong way, he'd fly right off the stage. So, he'd end up in the arms of an audience member.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Susan Masino is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have 2 minutes before we need to go to break at the top of the hour. Susan, as we continue with our rock and roll paranormal, why haven't you written a full-on rock paranormal book yet? Because, you seem like the perfect person to write that on personal encounters.
That's something that I've thought about, and I've had other people ask me about that. So, we're going to see. I'm writing a story of my life, which is going to include a ton of stories because I've met so many musicians and worked with so many people. It's crazy. It's kind of overload.
Well, it's funny because a few weeks ago, I was talking to Ron Thal about it, and I'm like, dude, we should team up on this because he had an amazing paranormal experience in Plovdiv in the Czech Republic when they were doing a music and symphony show there. And he has never fallen on stage. And he actually said on this show how he actually felt getting shoved down by something on stage. And his electric guitar, his VJ double neck, it actually has the points on, and I'm going to butcher this because I don't know my guitar lingo, even though I got like 3 guitars hanging behind me, but his strings can't go out of tune. He's got a blocker on top.
Oh, right.
And yet this, whatever it was around him, kept on putting his top string out of tune. Yeah, said it was tripping.
Oh my God.
And then Derek Sherinian.
Oh, I bet.
And then Derek Sherinian had something come up behind him while he's playing keyboards and knock his sunglasses off his head.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, it was awesome.
Oh yeah.
It was
That's
awesome.
Cool.
Oh yeah. So all of a sudden it got me thinking, there's a book there of current stories.
Oh,
not the hidden ones, but the current ones. Susan, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break at the top of the hour. We are having a plethora of fun tonight on the Mighty SOR. We're talking rock and roll. We're talking paranormal. And you know what? We're going to blend in some reincarnation next. Why? Why not? Because Susan has kind of an incredible story about reincarnation that hopefully we can convince her to share with us, that is. SusanMasino.com is her website. Her books can be found on Amazon. We'll be back with hour number 2 next. You having fun, Susan?
Oh, I'm having a blast. 1 hour's gone already.
I know.
Come on.
I know. I'm just going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, yeah, I'm going to take a break. I'm just going to set my phone down.
Okay, we got 6 minutes.
What to do?
Cool,
what to do?
Why not get BUMBLEFOOT?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks, I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales.
Yeah, I'm just checking. I just posted something on YouTube again.
Nice.
Thank everybody for listening.
Oh yeah, I just was walking back into my house from my backyard, and I watched a ghost cat run through my kid's toy room. That was kind of cool.
Nice.
That was kind of cool.
I love it. Yeah, no, I love it when you see them like come up. You can see them, make an imprint on a piece of furniture and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially when people have lost pets that they've had for years.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. I also feel the energy that there's a cougar around. I pick up on cougars.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where are you located again?
I'm in central British Columbia, so I'm literally on top of a bunch of mountains, and I live in a small community of about 1,100 people, and the next community over has about 1,800. So,
that's nice.
Nice and small. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No, bobcat. Yeah.
I'm manifesting a mountain lion to come to the window here, so that way I can jump up and get scared, and then show everybody on camera. Oh, hey, I banged the camera here. Hold on. Oh God! Now we got to go through all this crap again. Oh, I'm sorry, YouTubers. Hold on. Oh, come on. Oh, I just went through this last night. I accidentally banged the camera. Oh, is that it? No, that's too high now. Son of a gun. No, come on. Oh, God. Not enough time to figure this shit out. Okay, let's go with that one. All right, we'll go with that one. That one looks good. Okay. Thank you to Bigfoot Rob and Grendel for the super chats. And we're going to kick things off on hour 2 here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see what happens here. Music's about to come on. Music's on.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. And on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us. We love each and every one of you tuning on in. Thank you to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Only thing I ask for in return is hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Lacrimogenic. Lacrimogenic is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we're talking rock and roll, paranormal, reincarnation. Susan Masino is our guest tonight. You can find all of her books on Amazon. Her website, susanmasino.com, if you want to check it on out. Susan, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Dave. And I just want to throw in that the updated edition of my book, Story of AC/DC, Let There Be Rock, will be out on September 3rd. Figured it's time for another shot at tequila. It's a new hour.
Absolutely. So for people who don't know, once again, the bar that follows us on a nightly basis called Scoreboard Bar, it's in southern Michigan. Not northern like I thought it was. It's in southern Michigan. Anyways, they got a big gathering there, and every time we say the words "Let There Be Rock," the entire bar is going to take a shot of tequila. So good for them, having a good night on us. Having a good night. Oh, that's so enjoyable. So enjoyable. Now, Susan, reincarnation. This hits home and very close to you in regards to this. What were you a believer, or were you a believer of reincarnation before you decided that it was time to have a family?
Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, I didn't really know, the proper word for it. But I knew just from my inner knowledge that we come back here more than once. And actually, when I was in elementary school, I used to tell my friends that I was a comedy actress in the 30s that died in a plane crash. And everybody laughed at me. And when I got into my 20s, a lot of these memories came back, and I researched it, and I actually kind of identified with somebody that was in that circumstance. So I was very open to reincarnation. But what I'm sure you want to hear about is what happened with my son. Well, we call him the Titanic Boy, which he doesn't want to claim that. He keeps telling me he's going to deny it, because he wants to run for political office someday. But we're still going to talk about it. So what happened with my son James is when he was 4, we left him with a babysitter one night, and HBO was showing the Titanic movie, and he happened to get up and end up watching the end of the movie and going to bed. And so the babysitter informed us of that. And I wasn't real happy about it because he was only 4. And I thought, oh, great, watch 1,500 people drown and then go to bed. Perfect. So the next day, I was curious about, did this really affect him, or I hope it didn't upset him too much. And it was like somebody took a key and put it in the lock and opened the door, and this kid was on a mission. And he started the very next day. He started talking about the Titanic, about the things that went wrong with the Titanic. He loved to draw, and he had this little art table with watercolors, crayons, all of that. Within the next 2 weeks, he had drawn, and not from looking at a picture, but just coming out of his own head, he had drawn over 50 pictures of the Titanic. So that's when things started to get weird.
No kidding. And it's weird that you mentioned the Titanic. I've said this a couple times on the show over the years. My daughter's best friend from kindergarten up, her mother and I became very good friends. And her mother would tell me stories about about this girl who's now 21, but she was literally, ever since she could talk, about 2 years old, talking about the big boat. And drowning and dying and on the big boat. And then when, she kind of put 2 and 2 together about the Titanic, the girl actually said her name, and they ended up going to, a few years later, they ended up going to the Titanic exhibit at the Luxor in Las Vegas. And the name that she had said as a kid, because my friend had written it down, was actually on the board of the people who died.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because my son, since we told his story, he has heard from other people around his age group, too, just like that young lady that had obsessions with the Titanic as a child.
Yeah.
So, very interesting. I mean, obviously, soul groups reincarnate together.
No kidding. And so your son, did he ever tell you, as he went into detail about this, what he did with the Titanic or what his purpose there was?
He seemed to, cause since he was only 4 at the time, he cried a lot. The poor kid cried a lot about the fact that the doors came down on the boiler room and the men were trapped. And he said that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened that way. And he would say, they died first, Mama. They died first. And it was like he felt very responsible for that. And then as he got older, the more he talked about the boat, the more he talked about the things that were wrong with it, that shouldn't have happened, that they were stupid things. So he was very, very, bitter about it in a way. Of like, it didn't have to happen, Mama. Didn't have to happen. And I'm like, okay, well, and then he started having night terrors where he would go to sleep, and within the hour, you would hear him his feet would hit the floor. He'd come flying out of his bedroom, and he would run all over the house, like opening doors, looking like he was trying to get out. That went on for almost 2 years.
No kidding.
So it was, and he drew the Titanic. I mean, now it's kind of cute when you think about it, but this kid drew the Titanic on placemats in restaurants, on tables they could color on, every notebook, most of his homework. He was constantly drawing the Titanic, constantly.
Okay, so outside of that movie or that HBO special, how much influence did media, television, the internet, I guess there may not have been internet at that time, but how much influence did he have through books or whatever the means may be of the Titanic to maybe potentially influence him on everything that went on?
Oh, yeah, no, the only exposure he had at the time and before and after was seeing the end of the movie. That was it. And then as he got older, and he begged for things, we would buy him books, although he wasn't reading at 4. He wasn't, able to read the books, but the big books. But he wanted everything, the toys, the puzzles, the anything that had to do with the Titanic, the model. He built the model, painted the model, and it got to be a lot. And he was so like that was it though. I mean, that was his life. That's what he talked about all the time. And we thought, well, he's going to grow out of it. After he has to grow out of it. But the turning point was they came out with a CD-ROM game that you put in your computer, and you go around. You're on the ship actually, and you're told to go different places to solve a mystery to stop it from sinking. So we got him the game, put it in the computer, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm not a big game person, and he was flying around that ship, and then and he knew exactly where to go. And then my daughter, this is what really cracked things open, is when my forensic psychologist daughter came home for the holidays, and she was totally convinced I was crazy. The kid just likes the boat, that's it, he's going through a phase. So I said, well, you go play that game with him. Let me know what you think. Not 30 minutes later, she comes flying in the room, grabs me by the arm, and she goes, "That kid knows his way around the Titanic." And I said, "Yeah, I know. That's what I've been trying to tell you." And she goes, "That's impossible. You're on the boat. You're not looking in on the boat." And he would yell at her one time. She was trying to find something, and he goes, "Don't go down that stairwell. That's going to take you to the port side. Then you're going to have to go over the bridge. You need to be on starboard side and take stairwell C right now." That's the orders he was barking at her. So that's when the forensic psychologist's daughter went, "There's something going on here. You can't deny this anymore." It was too much to just push off. And luckily I let him express himself. I didn't try to shut it down. When he wanted to talk, we'd talk. If he wanted to paint a picture, he could. And we just kind of let him do his own thing. But he was Mr. Titanic for 2 years.
No kidding. Now, in that time when he was having all of these revelations as to what happened and the failures that were done, obviously, on the engineering side, was he actually, or were you able to determine that he was on the boat when this incident happened, or was he somebody who helped construct the boat, like one of the engineers who was maybe back in England at the time trying to, or maybe having to assess the whole sinking and the failure of the ship?
Well, it's funny. We ended up on a TV show called Ghost Inside My Child.
Yes.
And it was on, it was on a channel, and you can get it. I think it's on iTunes and stuff. But it was a cool show, and a lot of other kids that had, a lot of similar experiences, and his story was featured. And because of his ability to draw and the fact that he knew the construction so well, that they kind of matched him up with Thomas Andrews, who was the designer. And he did a lot of the designing of all the White Star Line ships, and he always made a habit of going out on each maiden voyage. And because he was who he was, they offered him a lifeboat. He had a wife and a daughter at home, and he refused and went down with the ship. So, and then we found pictures of him, and the way my son looks compared to this guy it's pretty creepy.
No way.
Actually.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this kid, he freaked me out. He one day came home with a picture of the Titanic, of course, and it only had smoke coming out of 3 out of 4 smokestacks. And I said, "Oh, didn't you get time to finish this?" He looked at me, like he always did, because he was so beyond me. And he said, "That was a dummy stack, Mama. They didn't use it. It was just for show." And I went, "What?" I didn't even know what he was talking about. And then over the next couple of years, they did documentaries, and sure enough, one of the smokestacks was a fake. It wasn't used. It was just to make the ship look grander. That's why they wanted it.
I never knew that. I never knew that at all.
I didn't know that till my 4-year-old told me, or maybe 5 at the time. But
okay.
It was amazing.
I want to ask you, in changing, same subject, changing the direction a little bit. As a parent, why did you accept these stories from your son as legit and not just of overactive imagination from seeing a television program?
I think I would have felt that way, the latter, if it would have just been a day or two that he was, or even a week or two, that he was interested in the Titanic. But it was almost like I said, like somebody turned a switch on, because as soon as he saw that movie, that was it. His life was telling me, all kinds of things about the Titanic, about the people that sailed on it, how they should have had more lifeboats, that they rushed the production. I mean, it was something you couldn't deny. And then after 2 years of this, this is crazy. It gets even crazier, if you can believe that. They brought the exhibit to the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago,
mm-hmm.
which had a plethora of Titanic artifacts. And we took him there to see it because it'd been 2 years, and my daughter thought, this might help him find some closure. So we take him there, and he's 6 at the time. And all the other kids are running around. They couldn't care less what they were doing. They're in a museum. My son has to look at every single thing, like for 5 minutes at a time. So we're just like crawling through this thing, and creepy. It felt so creepy having all these, personal belongings and things from people that died. And so I'm going to tell the story, but it sounds crazy. Okay. They had a boiler that they brought up from the bottom of the ocean, an actual boiler. And that's all that my son cried over was the men in the boiler room. And it had a spotlight on it with mirrors on each side, and it had like velvet curtains. And when I saw it, I thought, oh, God, here we go. There's the boiler. And my son was so little, he really couldn't see a lot of it because he was 6, and no one was holding him up above the crowd that we were in. But so I looked to the right, and it looks like a bunch of boilers because of the mirrors. I looked to the left, and I see in my mind, I saw this, okay? I saw it. It was an oil painting, a life-size oil painting of a man shoveling charcoal into the boiler. He had a hat on like Brian Johnson wears from AC/DC. He had a high neck white shirt collar, heavy woolen pants, suspenders, he had a mustache. And when I remember looking at it, at first I thought, wow, that's really, really nice that they paid tribute to them and that they did a painting. I mean, they went out of their way for this. It's really cool. And as I got closer and closer to it, I looked up at that painting, and that guy in the painting looked at me like, who are you?
Oh, weird.
And he looked like I scared him. He scared me so bad that because as soon as he looked, his head turned. Paintings don't move. And he turned to look at me. And as soon as he looked at me, I shut my eyes like, oh, no. And I opened them a second later, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and there's no oil painting.
Oh, no.
There's no man.
Weird.
And I leaned over to my daughter, who is about the same height as me, and I said, did you just see? And she goes, a man shoveling coal. And I said, in a hat with suspenders? She goes, yep, that was him.
No.
We both saw it.
Oh, that's freaky.
Yep, we both saw it. And what's weird about it is like, well, maybe Jamie, maybe my son worked in the boiler room. Maybe that was him. Maybe he saw, like, what did we look like to him? Did he see angels before he died? Because he looked at us, he swiveled his head really fast, like, who are you? And that was like, oh no, paintings don't look at me. I checked out right away.
Okay, so just so I got this right, the painting didn't exist. You saw one in the mirror reflection, and then when you looked again, the mirror and the painting were gone, or the mirror was there, but the painting was gone.
Yeah, the mirrors were there all the time, but the painting was there as soon as I walked into the space, because I remember thinking how nice that was that they went all out to do that. It was a nice touch. But as soon as I got close enough to it, within a few feet away, let's say, and it was big, it was a life-size painting, I looked up at him, and he turned and looked at me like who are you? Like, who are you? Like, really, like, scared. He looked scared, and he scared the hell out of me. I'll tell you that right now.
No kidding.
And and then after we kind of, got over that, we kind of shook it off. Then when we left, and by the way, they give you a card that correlates to a real person.
Yes.
On the boat.
Same as in Vegas.
And we traded, we each had female cards, and my ex and my son had male cards. When we got to the end, my husband actually was a military man that survived out of first class. Myself and my daughter were actually mother and daughter from Connecticut that survived, and the daughter was an actress, which my daughter was at the time, which was really weird. But then my son was a Canadian architect who died. And he asked us, because he couldn't read yet, and he was bouncing up and down trying to see the list. And he says, "Did I make it, Mama? Did I make it?" And I looked over at my daughter, and we both kind of rolled our eyes. And I said, "Yeah, honey, you did. And I showed him, a name, and I said, "That you did it. You did. You made it." And he was like, "Oh, good." I'm like, oh, God, what kind of lie is that, right? So right afterwards, though, about within 10 days after the trip to Chicago, I was in the other room. He was sleeping. My ex was at rehearsal, so we were alone. And I started hearing the banging on the wall in his bedroom. Just boom, 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 boom. And I jumped up. I ran down the hall. I threw the door open. My son was up on all fours. He's staring at the floor. He is shaking so violently that the bed is hitting the wall. And I thought he was going to go into a seizure. That's how bad he was shaking. And before I could even do anything, I stood there. I realized he couldn't see me. And he's shaking, and the bed is hitting the wall, and he's just shaking and shaking. And I go to make a step toward him. And when I did that, this voice came, and he was staring at the floor. He would not look up. And this voice came out of my son that was a man's voice. And the man, the terror I can't even describe to you, he screamed, "She's going down."
Oh, wow. That just gave me like freaky goosebumps.
Yeah, I burst into tears because I realized what was happening. And all I could do is I finally sat down next to him, started rubbing his back, and probably 30 minutes I had him laying down and back to sleep. But oh my God, I was shattered. And the next day I actually said something to him, and I said, "You really scared Mama last night." I said, "I almost took you to the doctor. You were shaking so hard." And he looked at me, and again, Mr. Dry. He's sarcastic and dry. And as he was walking away, he said, "Oh, Mama, the water was freezing, right?" That's it.
That's it.
That's what he said.
As only a kid can. Susan, I'm going to get you to hold on because we're going to continue with this incredible story here on Spaced Out Radio. Susan Masino is our guest, rock and roll author, journalist, and, of course, paranormal author. We're talking Reincarnation, this incredible story about her young son. Did he pass away on the Titanic? We're going to learn more when we come back on Spaced Out Radio next. Oh, you gave me goosebumps on that last one. Oh.
I'm telling you, Dave, I call it the death dream, because he obviously was experiencing the actual sinking.
Yes.
And I can't even describe to you what it feels like to see your 6-year-old in a crouch position, and he was sweating. His pajamas were wet and shaking so hard. And then the next day he's like, dummy, the water was freezing. You know that, right, Mama? He just walked away from me like such a blonde. I can't deal with it. But that actually turned the point. He stopped within a couple of weeks. He stopped talking about the Titanic.
Almost
and then it was gone.
Okay, well, let's save that for when we come back here. Our YouTube crowd was able to hear that, but we'll get that for the radio side of everything. That just scared the living shit out of me, I'll be honest with you. And oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, and I don't know if we'll get into this or not, but when we had to collect everything up for the TV show that we were on, and they actually sent 3 people from LA to record us. There's a cameraman, a producer, and the sound guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were collecting all the materials, our house was so haunted that we have it on recording. My son recorded it. But I had to yell at a bunch of people to leave my house because I think they were all coming there because they had died on the Titanic. And Thomas Andrews was, the one who helped build the thing.
Right.
So we had a lot of haunting going on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that just scares the damn.
That was an added bonus.
The only thing that my son, I look back at my 2 kids, and I have a stepdaughter as well. But my 2 kids, I had a paranormal experience with my daughter when she was about 4 or 5 months old, and she smelled like my grandfather's lawnmower shop. And I could smell it clear as day. And my ex-wife could not smell it at all. And that was weird. And then I called my grandmother, and my grandmother stated that my grandfather had always wanted a daughter. So my grandmother was just like, I'm telling her this story and I'm almost in tears because my grandfather was just my world. And my grandmother's like playing it all nonchalant, like, well, it doesn't surprise me. Your grandfather always wanted a granddaughter. So of course he's going to come back and take care of your little girl, come on, are you dumb? So,
yeah.
So, I mean, that was schooling by my grandmother, but my son, a couple of years ago, I was on a Sunday night cause I didn't have a show, and he was eating breakfast, and we got this island that kind of comes off the end of our kitchen counters. And so he's right at the end normally because he that's normally my seat, but he loves stealing Daddy's seat, and I'm sitting to his right, and we're just kind of he's eating his bowl of cereal before bed and as a bedtime snack, and all of a sudden we watch like these captain's bars of light go through from our dining room through our kitchen, and they were about, I'm going to say, 1 foot to 18 inches long. Like they were big and thick, just like a captain's bar. And we watched these lights, this set of captain's bars go right through from our dining room through the kitchen and then out the kitchen window. Okay. And there was no traffic there. Like my house does not like my area where I live. We're so remote. We don't even have street lights. Okay. Mm-hmm. And could it have been somebody driving? It could have, but we would hear cars. You know what I'm saying? And, and my street, there's nobody driving on my street from 9 o'clock on. It's extremely rare. We only got about 40 seconds, so I'll quickly make this happen. So all of a sudden, about 2 minutes later, my son breaks down in an uncontrollable crying tantrum. And I'm like, what's wrong, buddy? He looks me deadpan in the eye. He goes, "You're going to die soon. I don't want you to die." And
And when did he say this?
Oh, this is a couple of years ago. And I tell you, I have never been so freaked out by a kid in my life than when that happened. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So hold on a second. We're going to come back here.
Okay.
Thank God he was wrong. Hey, Dirty Fylth.
Yeah.
Good to have you back in the chat room, buddy. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us tonight. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. We are talking with author, journalist, writer, researcher, and rock and roller Susan Masino tonight. We're talking about this incredible story. If you missed the last half hour, you're going to have to rewind this once this show gets into archive. But we're talking about this incredible story about her son who had this reincarnated lifestyle, remembering his life on the Titanic. Susan, welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, it was quite the ordeal, and it lasted from 4 to 6 years old. And so we were talking before the break after he had that dream. You know, we took him to the Titanic exhibit, and about 10 days later, I believe he had a dream of the actual sinking of the ship, which was horrible to witness, but actually he needed to do that, obviously, because over the next couple of weeks, he slowly stopped talking about the Titanic, and within like a month, he never mentioned it again. And we really thought after 2 years, like, how long is this going to last?
No kidding. No kidding. So do you think that episode that he had in his bedroom that you walked in, that maybe that was probably part of the climax of it all, because in his dream world, because he was sleeping, and in his dream world during that dream, that's when he died.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he definitely experienced the sinking. You know, he was on the ship as it was going under. And I've never seen anything that terrifying. I, would never want any parent to have to watch something like that. But I knew that that's what was happening, and his doctor had advised me to never shake him out of it, to let it pass. So yeah, that was a big turning point for him, though. Then after he did that, he let it go. He did. He let it go.
That is way too weird. May I ask, and if it's too intrusive, please just tell me it's none of my business, but how old is your son now?
He's 26.
Okay, and does he still recall this?
Well, not really. When they interviewed him at 19, when we did the TV show, they asked him, did he have any memory of all that? And he said, it was kind of interesting how he said it. He said, all I know is I remember the Titanic being as familiar to me as my house. That's what he remembers about it. And he said he doesn't regret going down with the ship. He said if he had to do it over, he'd do the same. I'm like, aw.
Well, you have to think, though, how many people did he rescue?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's really, it shouldn't have happened. It was, a series of mistakes and stupidity. I hate to say, but them not turning off their radio and not getting the signals that they were trying to send out. There's just all these things that didn't. It was like a domino effect of like, here we go, and it's not going to end up well. But it's crazy because, there are, like I said, there's a lot of kids out there that I've heard the same stories that they had memories of being on the ship.
Well, considering my friend's daughter is the same age as my daughter, they're 21 years old, and your son is 26, it almost falls into that category of maybe many of these people have been reincarnated within the last, late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, yeah. I was surprised because even one of his close friends told us at the time that he was obsessed with the Titanic when he was in grade school. And we didn't know until we brought it up, and he said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I have had a lot of memories." So, and then thinking of, how tragic, how many people died and all that, it's bound to leave an imprint on history forever. But people that are coming back, like my son loves the water now, but boy, that kid, I mean, you couldn't get him into the deep end of the pool for anything. He was going to, when he was little, he would stand on the steps of the pool when we go on vacation and hold on to the railing. That was it.
Right. Right. What about?
It was very frustrating.
What about bathtubs and showers?
He was pretty cool with that, because he had, you're going to love this. They came out with a Titanic toy that you put it in the bathtub, and after it gets enough water in it, it breaks in half and sinks. He had one of those.
Oh, isn't that pleasant? Isn't that pleasant? Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I want to get back to you for a second here because, I asked you right before the break about why you believed your son that it wasn't overactive imagination. What advice do you have now in living through this for parents of that age category between, say, 2 and 8, 9 years old, maybe 10 years old, who are going through something similar and are trying to dismiss it or don't know how to handle it? They're getting angry over it or emotional because for a lot of parents, we try and dismiss things because we're doing our best to protect the child rather than just taking the time to listen to them.
Exactly. And that's why I just instinctively knew to do that with him, but I'm glad I did because I think what you should do if you're in that position, for one thing, get out a notebook and start writing things down that they say. Date it, write down what they say, and supposedly kids are born with past life memories, and as they get older, the veil comes down and then they don't really access that as much. But mostly kids are not lying. They're not making it up. So if you have a child that, is doing that, I wouldn't, I'm not saying push it on them, but don't deny it. Like if he wants to get a book or she wants to see a video or they want more information, I think that helps. To let them find, their own stuff about it and go, oh, okay. I think it helps for them to process the memories.
That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. So, did you meet up with other parents who were going through something similar, or were you literally all alone through this journey?
I was alone while it was happening, definitely. We only told like a handful of family members. And babysitters because you had to make sure he didn't fall down the stairs. So, we actually didn't get babysitters as often during this period because we were afraid of his night terrors. But, the more that he got to, live it out, we met, after the show came out, I met a lot of cool parents. They had a Facebook page for families of ghosts within my child TV series. And there are some amazing stories. This one young man that they talked about, he actually made national news because around the age of 4 or 5, 6, he remembered fighting in World War II. He remembered the aircraft carrier he was on. He remembered the airplane. He remembered the names of some of his people that he was with, and that he was shot down. And everything pulled up as what he said correlated to history. So it was fascinating, and he knew so much about it. It was crazy. So, and then they were, they're super cool people. And then another woman that I'm still friends with, so shout out to Teresa and Amy. Amy, when she was very little, she was obsessed with silent movies. She used to make her hair into pin curls like they did back in the 20s and 30s.
Yes.
And she knew all about John Barrymore and people like that, only she was a little girl. So they actually found the actress that she was, that she died a tragic death at 14, but she did act in movies. And this is who Amy remembered who she was as she got older.
Right. See, I think part of the problem that we have a lot, and maybe Hollywood is to blame, or just people wanting attention is to blame for it. But when it comes to reincarnation, there are a lot of people out there, and I've made this comment on this show in jest a few times. They're always someone famous. You know what I'm saying? They're always someone like Cleopatra or Hercules, or they're never that slave that was whipped while building the pyramids and passed away at 18 years old. They were never somebody who died of famine in Ethiopia back in 1983 when that was all going on. You know what I'm saying? They're always someone famous, an actor, an actress, or some historical figure. And I think because that's what the media, movies, and people focus on, I think that's where reincarnation gets a little bit of a sounds more woo than it does anything with reality of what's going on, like situations like you've gone through with your family. How do you take that when people, are like, oh, I was Marilyn Monroe in the last lifetime, or I was Joe DiMaggio?
Oh, yeah, and that's really that's more profile type stories you hear. But if you're really interested in reincarnation and do some studying, one of the really cool cases was, and one of the first that was written about actually, was a woman that remembered dying in Ireland in a small village, and she left behind a lot of kids, like 6 children or something. And she drew a map of the town. She drew a diagram of where her house was and all of that. And I wish I had her name, because she ended up going to Ireland, finding the actual, town, the neighborhood. I don't know if the house was still standing, but get this. She met with some of the children that she left when she died. And all these now children are in their 60s, 70s, 80 years old. And when they met her, and she was like, a housewife from the U.S. that was maybe in her 40s, they totally said, you're our mom. She's you.
Wow.
That's a great case, and it's very well documented.
That is just that is tough. I mean, for the family to accept that as a reality, I mean, that's hard to accomplish. I don't even know how to find the right words for that.
Well, even the little boy I mentioned that remembered going down in World War II, they literally contacted his sister from that lifetime. He was about 6. She was in her 80s, and they met. And she totally accepted the fact it was her brother, because as soon as he met her, her name was Anne, and he called her Annie right away. And and he's a little boy, and she was thrilled because she said he was the only one in the family that ever called her Annie. So she accepted him as her reincarnated brother.
Well, there was
it's pretty cool.
And there's the famous story going back a few years of a young Syrian boy who was like 3 years old when he was killed. He was a 3-year-old, and he had a weird red birthmark on his head. And it was later revealed that through his reincarnation, the young boy was able to say that he was murdered with an axe in a previous life. He was then able to take elders from his community to where the body of his old body was found. And he also remembered the full name of his killer. And when the alleged killer was actually confronted, the gentleman admitted to it because he was so scared. So, I mean, we have these stories that are happening. Now, granted, in the Indian culture and in the Middle Eastern culture, reincarnation is very believed. It's part of the religion. It's part of almost everyday life for over 1 billion people there. But in Western culture, why do we have troubles, in your opinion, of accepting this type of logic that just may be a possibility?
Well, I don't want to get into religion, but reincarnation was not put in the Bible on purpose. It was actually taken out because they didn't want people to think that they had a second chance at anything, that this is it. This is your one time. And it's very scary because, I'm going to die and it's going to be it. And, oh, my God, I'm going to go to heaven or hell. I don't know. Somebody else is going to decide that for me. That's not at all what's real. That's not what we're living in. And there's millions of dimensions. There's, you see these ghost, shadow people, cats, like you said, ghost cats running around. It's a fascinating place to be because we're in a very small 3D projection, okay? And it's very confining, I think, extremely confining. It's no fun. So you take a hammer and hit yourself in the head with it, it's going to hurt, But in the spiritual world and in lives beyond ours, our physical life, there's no end to it. Energy only changes, so you can't destroy it.
That's right.
So it's a ride.
So we've got about 6.5 minutes before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. And our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, Susan Masino, her website, susanmasino.com. We're talking reincarnation. Now, the intriguing fact about your family is I believe your daughter is a child psychologist or studied psychology. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, she's a forensic psychologist.
Okay, so she had professionally no belief in this entire thing, I'm going to assume.
Yes, at first, yes, that's true.
So what's the age difference between brother and sister here?
18 years, actually.
Okay, but that's still really cool because the son is going through this while she's going to university, and she's trying to be very pragmatic, very professional, very scientific. What does your daughter say about this? How many arguments did this cause in the household?
Well, I think it was definitely something that, she didn't really buy into until she played that CD-ROM game with my son and realized that he knew his way around the ship by being, your characters actually on the ship. And that's when she said that there had to be more of a connection with, her brother and the Titanic than just like an imagination, or a phase, like an imaginary phase.
Right.
She realized that there had to be something more to that.
Okay. So what's her opinion now? Does she study it in her own practice?
She does a little bit. She does more criminal profiling, and so stuff that I could never do. She goes to prisons. She worked at San Quentin for a while, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And then, and you couldn't get me in that building if no, you couldn't. Horses could not drag me inside San Quentin. But she worked there, and now she supervises people. So she goes to about once a month. She has to go to one of the Northern California prisons to check up on them, check up on the situation. So she has got, she's got the nerves I do not have.
I can see that. My sister, she's corrections for, oh goodness, almost 30 years now. Hard to believe, but if you look at my sister, I mean, she's like $110 soaking wet. So it's kind of. My older sister did Leavenworth 15 years as a supervisor. Oh wow, that's hardcore.
Yeah,
that is hardcore there.
Crazy, and if you want to get into a ghost story from a prison, I got a good one for you.
Oh, well, we got 3.5 minutes here. Let's do this.
Ooh, I don't know if I can do it in 3.5 minutes, but I'll try. Okay, you've got an inmate that's dying. He's terminal. So they bring in the family to say goodbye, and they request a priest to come in and give him the last rites. He is non-responsive. He's been in a coma. He's going to die soon. So they call in a Father Applegate in Kansas. He shows up in the morning, old guy, creepy looking, dark clothing, kind of strange, but he signs in. They bring him in. He does the last rites, and he leaves. And after he leaves, they have someone in the cell with him because he's in a coma. So there's another inmate that is pouring out the drinks that they bring him every day because he's not going to drink them. He's in a coma. And after this guy left, the guy in bed sat up and said, out of a coma, sat up and said, don't pour that out. I want to drink that. So that afternoon, another Father Applegate showed up, and he was the real one from Leavenworth. When they said, no, he's already been there, he's like, no, I just got here. They went through the footage. You can see his signature is every checkpoint he signed, but in the video, there's nobody in the video. The guy didn't show up on film.
No kidding. Oh, that's creepy. That is creepy.
It's real, too. Yep.
No kidding. And yet,
I think it was a walk-in.
It could have been
somebody that didn't serve out their sentence there, so they came in because he lived for a while without being sick, and then he died. But he didn't have the sickness that he had when he was dying. All of a sudden, that was gone.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, crazy. But I wanted to figure it out, and I really think it was a walk-in.
So
somebody that needed to serve out their time.
Yeah. So for people who may not understand the paranormal term walk-in, what do you mean by that?
That a soul took his place, that he was dying. And this soul came in through that priest and stepped in for him. Walked in is why they call it walk-ins.
Oh, wow. That's heavy. That is completely heavy right there.
Well, it gets better. My sister went into the records.
Yes.
And there was an Applegate that died in that prison.
Really?
Same name. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I couldn't find out if he had committed suicide, but I have a feeling that that's why he needed to serve the rest of his sentence. That's the only thing. I had to make some sense of it. Because it freaked out the guards so badly that today they won't talk about it.
I believe that.
Because they touched him. Yeah, they touched this guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't show up on the video.
Absolutely.
Like that.
All right.
Oh, cool.
Susan, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to have Susan Masino on the show for another 30 minutes here, talking all things paranormal, strange, weird, maybe a little bit more rock talk. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, we're going to join the shift in Vancouver, go right across Canada. And then, of course, the SOR Newswire and the thought of the day of a jam-packed hour 3. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio. I am having so much fun tonight. Thank you.
Oh, me too. Like I said, my God, we could talk it till next Wednesday.
Oh,
No,
yes.
tomorrow. It is Wednesday.
Well, it is.
Next
It is.
Wednesday.
I'm going to run my dogs outside once more. We got about 6 minutes. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay. All right.
Be right back.
Taking a break.
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblelicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at CHIVE.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the CHIVE and CHIVE Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, CHIVE Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightline report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you.
Perfect.
So fill out a Sightlines report on the space.
This is flown on by.
Boy.
Flown on by.
I know. I was just thinking that. I'm like, this is crazy. It just, 2 hours, seriously? Doesn't seem like that at all.
No kidding. No kidding. Oh, man. It's pretty insane. Pretty insane.
Well, yeah, and things are getting weirder, The UFOs and stuff, I mean, they're everywhere. It's kind of funny. It's almost a daily thing. Just land already. Get it over with.
Tell me about it, right? Tell me
I know.
Let's just get these aliens. Come on, let's just get the aliens here and see. Let our overlords take us over.
Oh God, no. We got the Palladians are on our side. We got some good people. We got the Arcturians.
Yes.
The Reptilians are being fought with right now. So.
We got about 45 seconds. 45 seconds.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be good. Going to be good.
Sorry.
Hi, Manitoba Becky. How you doing there, gorgeous? Thank you for coming on in. All right, 30 seconds. All right. Thank you to Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob, and Grendel for the super chats tonight. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for hanging on out. Please hit that thumbs up or thumbs down. Hit that subscribe button. We're kicking off hour number 3 right now.
You know little brother is watching.
Hey, Vinny, good to have you here.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com
Hey, Prairie Fire.
for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour is now underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning on in. We welcome back our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Lacrimogenic. Lacrimogenic is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. For the final time tonight, we introduce just a lovely guest here, Susan Masino. She is a rock and roll historian. She's an author. She's a paranormal experiencer. Her child has gone through reincarnation, recalling a previous life. She's pretty much been there, done that when it comes to all the awesome, strange, and weird. Her books can be found on Amazon. Her website, SusanMasino.com. Highly suggest you check it on out. Susan, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm having so much fun.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I got to ask you, after this incident with your son, how haunted did your own home become?
Oh, we always had, I think we were on a mound. We had a bit of a slopey backyard on the north side of Madison, and we had a lot of activity in that house anyway. But when we were doing the TV show, and this was, it happened between the ages of 4 and 6, and now he's 19, most of the stuff was packed away except for the Titanic models and things. So we spent a good week, 2 weeks, getting all the pictures out, getting all the games, the books, whatever. And my son he had a computer in the basement on the lower level. The kids hung out down there, TV, couch, the whole thing. And he left it record all night. And a couple weeks before we were to film the show, the more and more artifacts that we put out onto the table by where my son's computer was, the activity in the basement of my house got insane. It was like every night you could hear people talking. You could hear people going up and down the stairs. One night at 3 a.m, I was reading upstairs, trying to go to sleep, and I get sleepy. And at 3 o'clock, it sounded a big bam, and then at 3:30, another big bam. And the next day, we listened to the noises, and it even sounds like somebody's tapping on the computer microphone. So there's a party going on, and so I'm upstairs alone one night. My son's already asleep, and I think my husband was sleeping too. And I'm hearing, all of a sudden, I jumped because it scared me. All of a sudden, I heard these people talking. And right away, I just slammed my toothbrush down, and I went downstairs. I turned all the lights on, and I walked around the basement. And I said, all right, I get it. You guys are all from the Titanic. I understand that. I am sorry. I'm trying to honor your memory. But Thomas Andrews, if you have a bone to pick with him, he died with you, okay? He died with you. And we are honoring that memory. So you guys need to move on. You're done. And after that night, nothing. No noise.
Really?
But there's a party going on.
That is so creepy. Like for people who have never lived in a haunted house or been in a haunted building, what's it like right before you take that deep breath and say, okay, I'm going down there, and nobody is down there. And yet, there's something down there. Explain that feeling.
Well, I rarely let it scare me, because that's if you're up against an entity that wants to mess with you, that's what they want to do, is scare you. And I'm usually I'm pretty open about that, don't mess with me. You scare me, it's going to piss me off. And the night that happened, this had been going on for a good week. Of the recordings were crazy. I mean, literally crazy. And the night that this happened, they scared me. And that did it. It set me off. And I went downstairs, and I just told him, I said, out, everybody, out, you're done. Watch the show when it comes out. Have a good time. God bless y'all, but out of my basement. And that was it. So I'm just kind of used to that kind of stuff.
So did your own activity around you pick up from that?
I think that the older I get more and more intuitive, which I think, people really do, is start tapping in more. But I was pretty shocked at the kind of activity, because we had tons of activity in that house. One night I was watching TV, and those little shadow people that are all black, and they have a little hood looking. They look like a cartoon character. And I saw it peeking around the corner at me in the living room, and I jumped up, and there was nothing there. And a week later, my son's friend was upstairs getting ice for his drink out of the fridge, and saw this little hooded figure go past him, go down the hall, and he thought it was a girl that was visiting, was just using the upstairs bathroom. So he went downstairs. She was sitting there, and he said, "Didn't you just come upstairs and go to use the bathroom?" And she goes, "No." So, yeah, I've seen shadow people. I've seen all stuff you don't want to see, actually. But when my son would get scared, okay, if something would happen that would spook him, I would say, "Now, okay, remember this." And I always tell people this, not in a super haunted place. This might not be true. But I always would say to my son to calm him down, "Okay, remember, if you sat here for the next 4 years, that might never happen again," right? So that's how I kind of minimized the fear factor of it. It's rare.
All right.
It's a rare occurrence.
All right, psychic lady, I need your help here, because my chair just got bumped. And people who just saw on camera, they just saw me kind of bending over and looking, what the hell just bumped my chair?
Uh-oh. Could be Bon. He wants me to say, "Let there be rock."
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Bon says there's got to be another shot, man. Get out the tequila.
Oh, I love it when the weird stuff happens. I really love it when the weird stuff happens. We've had some strange things over the years happen on this show. You know, from Carl the alien appearing at my window to having a shadow figure show up when we were doing a show on a haunted doll. I mean, it's we've had some weird things happen during this show, and so all of a sudden, my chair getting bumped by something it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me anymore.
No. Oh no, that's awesome. You know, that could be a lot of people, but I have a feeling it's Bon because he likes to do stuff like that.
All right. Well, you can tell Mr. Scott, because we share the same last name, that he can do something again. Let's test it out. See if it works.
Yeah, you never know. You don't want him to mess with your equipment.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm quite okay with that. If it's paranormal speaking and we end up going off the air, I'm quite okay with that. I mean, that's what we do here.
Oh, I know.
That's why what this is all about. So, and the weird part about it is, see, I love it when things weird happen, especially when my dog is around, because my dog is sleeping right in front of my broadcast desk here, and he doesn't even move anymore. Doesn't even move. We caught my dog that's with me in here right now. We caught him and my son a few months ago, or no, this is going back about 2 years ago now, staring at something in the doorway. And when we looked in the doorway, there was this purplish blue type figure standing there. And you could see it out of your corner of your eye, and you didn't want to make a move. And my son and the dog were just staring at it. And it was just like, here we go. Yeah, we got aliens around here sometimes. I chalk it all up to aliens. It's just much more fun that way.
Oh, yeah. It's all aliens. I mean, we wouldn't be here without them. That's the fun part. Sort of.
Yes. So, you know, just don't mess with my YouTube stuff because it's working good tonight. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. YouTube is working well tonight. Last night, not so well. Not so well at all. But that's okay. That is very much okay. Susan, you know, with the paranormal and everything that is kind of happening around the world right now, UFOs are the hot topic. I know you like yourself a good casual conversation about aliens as well. You know, have you ever, I mean, here's something, you know, getting back to Van Halen, you know, I know you're a David guy, but getting back to the whole Sammy part of Van Halen, Sammy Hagar came out a few years ago in Rolling Stone magazine stating that he's an ET abductee. And literally that's what the song Love Walks In is all about. Do you find that a lot of these artists are actually quite spiritually connected either with the paranormal and or extraterrestrial?
I think absolutely, because just like I said when I write, when you tap into that flow of energy, that's where all the information is. So I've found a lot of celebrities, you know, and you said a lot of rock stars have all had paranormal activity, and that's because, you know, and as a collective soul, if you will, we are ascending to a higher density of being more awake. So we're evolving right now. You know, we're kind of getting kicked up the ladder a little bit. And it'd be nice if everybody would get with the program. So, just saying.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I totally understand with what you're saying in regards to that. So, you know, dealing with these musicians And I realize that, they're of a different breed. They're of a different ilk. They're thinking a lot more creatively, whether it's because of their depression that we've seen numerous artists over the years end up committing suicide. We see that many of these artists just continue on and battle and sing their pain through their songs and so on and so forth. Are we ever going to get back to, and I'm asking this as a rock and roll historian here now, and I know, weird parallel, I guess. Are we ever going to get back to that time where we see lyrics and music actually having meaning than a lot of the crap that's being played today?
I really think so, because I think that we want a nice place to live. I think everybody, this virus has caused everyone to stop and think about what's going on. What's going on with your life? Are you doing what you really want to do? Most people aren't. And I think it's exciting because I think, especially with the 20-somethings, both of us having children in that age range, they see a completely different world than what we live in right now. And they're going to create, and I hope we help create that future where we get back to, family and love and friends and taking care of each other and taking care of the planet and taking care of all the animals and the plants. I mean, we live in a paradise, and we're burning the rainforest down. We're doing all these crazy ass things. And I'm sure there's several aliens out there that are like, can we land now? What else do they have to do before we can land? I want to know. Because I would love to see that. I would just love to see somebody, show up and say, okay, guys, come on. We need to have a talk here. That's my wish, is that we project, like, supposedly we're envisioning a new Earth, if you will. A lot of people are familiar with that phrase. And I'm envisioning an Earth that is more positive and is more joyful. And therefore the music will reflect that. So
I hope
that's
so.
My dream.
Because it's funny, because I was saying to my audience a few weeks ago, I never got into Lynyrd Skynyrd, ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, for some reason, I was craving hearing the song Freebird. And then all of a sudden, it just clicked. And I was like, I get it now. I totally get it. And I know everybody's meaning to any song is different. It's what they want it to mean to them. But for me, I was moved. I listen to Freebird almost every day for the last 3-4 months now.
Aw.
Cannot stop.
They had some great songs.
Yeah, but even going back even before the 70s into the 60s, okay, where maybe it was because of the political tensions and the war and everything like that, the music and the lyrics were just so powerful and meaningful, rather than what we see today with almost every hip hop song talking about hoes, money, drugs, and we're going to light up your neighborhood.
Well, and that's a sad commentary on what this generation that is writing that kind of music is, what they grew up with. And that's the sad part, is that I pray, that as my son gets older, because I asked him, he's up in New York, and when the riots broke out, he's a filmmaker, so he went out and filmed for almost 2 hours, and thank God came home okay. But I asked him, I said, please don't do that. Please don't go down there physically and stuff. And he says, Mom, he said, this is not going to end until things change. My generation is not having it. We're done.
That's a powerful statement.
Well, yeah. It really hit me, because I was very emotional. I had no idea. I was up at my sister's in Charleston the night that all the riots broke out. And here I had, my son up in New York. I had, I call him my bonus son in Madison, 2 of them. And then my other bonus son in Seattle. And they were all in the riots that night. So I was a wreck. The next day, I was calling all of them going, okay, look, I understand you want to protest. I'm not putting that down, but right now it's being used to hurt people. It's being taken all in the wrong ways, and it's not going in the right direction. So there's got to be something better.
Do you see, intuitively speaking, do you see something better coming soon?
I do.
Without getting
really
political. Without getting political.
Yeah, without getting political, I think I do, because I believe in the people. I believe in the spirit of the human soul. Mm-hmm. And we know what's wrong, what's right or wrong. And it's time that we live a right way and not all for the dollar, all for the status, all for the power. Right now during this virus, that doesn't mean anything. Anybody can get sick no matter how much money you have. That's not going to stop it. So it kind of puts us all in the same field of like, don't you just want to live a nice, peaceful life and take care of each other and not, point out, oh, you're different from me, I don't like you. We're not here to judge. That's not our job.
Yeah, it does get old. It totally does get old.
Yeah.
Well,
it's silly.
Right.
We're people. Get over it.
Right? Apparently that's hard for some. Apparently that is very difficult for some. And, it sucks.
It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up and love your brothers and sisters and want to be part of that. Want to be part of love. There's only love and fear. Love creates, fear destroys. It's your choice.
All right. Outside of AC/DC, what's the best band you ever saw live? Outside of AC/DC and Van Halen, because we've talked about them tonight.
Oh, that's so hard. I've seen so many. Oh, God. Okay. Pink Floyd.
Oh, yes.
When they first came out, I was in high school, and also I saw Led Zeppelin for 6 songs in Chicago, and Jimmy Page got sick and left the stage. So that would probably be the topper, Led Zeppelin for 6 songs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your first ever concert?
I grew up in the business. I saw a lot of people, but my real official one was my boyfriend took me to the Coliseum in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, to see the James Gang. That was my first show with Joe Walsh.
My first concert was March 17th, 1989, right in the middle of hair metal. And it was Skid Row opening up for Aerosmith in Vancouver.
Ooh.
That was my first ever.
That's a lot of hair.
That's a lot of hair. And the stupid part about it is being a stupid 16, 17-year-old teenager at that time. I was so into Skid Row that I didn't even, I was like, what does Aerosmith even sing? And then all of a sudden they started playing. And I'm like, oh, there's Walk This Way. There's Sweet Emotion. There's Dream On. Oh, my gosh. And just fell in love with Aerosmith because of that.
Oh, yeah. Great American band, but they went through their bad points, believe me. They went through a very dark time that the band was falling apart.
Oh, yeah.
And they came back, and they're a great American rock and roll band.
All right.
One of the few.
Sorry for cutting you off there because we only got about a minute. I want to get this in. Most underrated band you've ever covered?
Oh, most underrated. Oh, God, they were all so big and wonderful. Maybe Journey, I suppose. They had their hits and everything, but I don't think that, they got to the level that they could have gotten to.
Right.
So maybe that. God, everybody I saw I just loved. So underrated. I would say in the beginning for AC/DC because they got slagged, as they say. They got slagged on a lot in the early days. They were called a punk band, which they hated. So they were up against a lot.
Well, Susan, I want to say thank you so much for gracing our airwaves on Spaced Out Radio tonight. This was so much fun. And I'm just going to call it right now. I'm going to call the shot. We're going to have you back. We have to.
Oh yeah, I feel like you and I have known each other forever, and we, like I said, we could talk for like a week.
Oh yes.
So this was a blast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Susan Masino. Her website, susanmasino.com, and I suggest you go there. You could check out her books. You could get them on Amazon. Highly recommend that. What a great pleasure to interview Susan tonight. And I cannot wait to do it again, and I'm sure you guys will be all excited about it as well. Coming up next, we're going to join Vancouver and the Shift live for some syndication. And then we got the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. More Spaced Out Radio coming up. Let's give a round of applause for Susan, everybody. Round of applause for Susan. Just fantastic.
That was a blast.
When Roger,
oh my God, I feel like I was on a ride.
Oh, that was fun.
You know,
that was fun.
It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I will check in on you guys online, and thank you so much for having me on. And
we love you.
You know, call me anytime.
Oh, we definitely will. Corrins, this is one that goes in the return file, the return to the show file. So I'm just amazed, and I've already thanked Marty for recommending you to come on this show, and it was just I'm blown away. Thank you for the honor and the pleasure to get to speak with you.
Oh, it was the honor was all mine. Thank you so much, and anytime. Call me anytime.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. I will let you go here because I got to go get ready for the news, but you're more than welcome to join our chat room in there. Everybody's showing claps for you right now.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I definitely will check it out. I'll be there.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. You too. Bye-bye.
She was fucking amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Marty. I know you're listening in right now. Hey, Kristen Alberg. Good to see you. Well, even though I can't see you because you got no photo, but good to see you here. And Corrins, the booking guy, another home run. Another home run. Please, 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 everyone, do not give me credit for booking the guests. I'm only booking a couple guests a month. This is all Corey. This is all Corrins, the booking guy. Okay, give him the full credit because he's the guy who takes your requests. He's the guy who makes it happen. I'm just the guy who talks to them. Okay, and Corey has just been nailing it out of the ballpark the last couple of months. And fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Corrins, the booking guy, everybody. Corrins, the booking guy. Bravo. Bravo. Tragically Hip, most underrated Canadian band ever. Tragically Hip. DOA would be a close second. And a close third to that would be Big Sugar. Yeah, you're probably right there, Chris Mo. Amazing is a little bit of an understatement. Oh, there's Vancouver. Hey, Vancouver, how you doing?
Mr. Dave Scott, what is happening tonight? How are you?
Brother, we just had an amazing conversation with a lady named Susan, and she literally has been a rock and roll historian the last 30 plus years, written a couple of books on AC/DC, and her son had a reincarnation of somebody on the Titanic. Just awesome. Awesome night.
Wow, that's incredible, man.
So it was rock and our show title was Rock and Reincarnation.
That sounds fascinating, dude.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So who's hosting tonight?
Tonight will be Shane Hewitt.
Okay. Have I spoke? I hate to be rude. I've spoken to Shane before, correct?
Yes. It was not this past week, but the week
2 weeks
before
ago.
last.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds perfect. Perfect. Yeah, because he really digs this shit. Who's got the front running to replace Drex right now? Because I just saw the posting went up on LinkedIn. Do we know?
Yeah, I'm not sure myself. I don't think even they know. But I would be pretty delighted if Shane got it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
Right on. So he knows we're talking UFOs, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we're coming back to our show in about less than a minute. We'll hook up with you around 11:36.
Yeah,
I'll be out at 52.
Yeah, I got 1 minute of commercials left, or about 57 seconds now.
Okay, sounds good, Dave. Well, we'll hook up with you very soon here.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
All right.
If you're like me,
I like Nickelback. I am Canadian and man enough to admit I like Nickelback.
Peeling paint on the outside of your home. Protect your home investment.
Yeah, I'm sure my numbers will drop now, but I like Nickelback.
Worry-free, starting with a free on-site or remote estimate. It's your choice.
I'm secure enough
from the comfort of my own home.
in my rock and roll hood.
And easy. You can trust them.
I don't like all their ballad shit they've been doing the last couple albums, though. They've totally gone Bon Jovi there. But their older stuff is good. All right, they're coming back.
This is Canada's all-night conversation.
We're about to come back.
The Shift.
MooseBeard.com
on the
today.
shift, 877-399-9898. I would like to welcome all of our listeners in Edmonton and Shed joining us in the program. I hope you enjoyed the hockey programming that you had earlier. As a guy from Calgary, that really worked out in your favor. Nice to see hockey back on TV today. That's for sure.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to make sure that we are getting ready to hook up with Vancouver here. And the shift Shane is hosting tonight. So we are going to be talking to some UFOs here coming on up. I want to remind you that if you are,
if you have any stories that you'd like to share, feel free.
Yeah. Let's just do this. What the hell?
Because we'd love to pass them on to Dave Scott.
There we go.
And the folks at Spaced Out Radio. Are ready to go there now, Matt?
Let's just do this, man. I was getting screwed up because I could hear you in my headphones as I'm trying to say what I have to do to come back into the show, and you're doing the same, and it's like, oh, what are we doing? We're supposed to be professional here, but apparently I was not. How you doing, Shane?
Well, and I couldn't hear you, so it was all good. I'm good, thank you very much, Mr. David. This is great to have you on. Thanks for doing this. It's
man,
one of my favorite parts of the week. It's really great. We were talking last night on the program about if you could have any animal as a pet, any animal in the world as a pet. Like there's no limits. You don't need a permit or whatever. There was a couple of people were a little bit convenient on maybe their lion didn't like to eat people, and my pet elephant didn't poop much. But, for the most part, everybody, suggested the ideal pet. There was one particular caller last night that said his ideal pet would have been the Sasquatch.
Yes, I'm going with Dogman or Sasquatch, okay? Because nobody's going to mess with your household. There's not going to be stray dogs dropping deuces on your property. The bears and the cougars are going to stay away if you live in the wilderness or wherever you may be. It's just a good deterrent. And so I'm going with Dogman or Sasquatch.
All right, very good. I would not go with the female lions, the lionesses, based on the article I did see today from the Rotterdam Zoo. A lioness in heat can mate up to 50 times in 24 hours. And if the male isn't good to go, she bites his testicles.
Oh, that's not nice. That's just...
And then there's a picture.
Yeah.
There's a picture of a lion with his big mane and his very, very sad face. And she's got a big grip on. And his back it must hurt because his back two legs are off the ground.
Holy cow. Well,
anyway, so don't take the lion as a pet.
No. They are beautiful. They are beautiful, though. Aren't they?
Yeah. All right.
All right. Aliens.
Get an alien as a pet.
Could be. You gotta, we gotta ask the U.S. government whether or not we could borrow some aliens for pets and see how they go. Because if they're doing any of that voodoo mind tricks, we think we might be able to, if we can escape that, maybe get, a good piece of tin foil around our forehead. We might be able to block, them from getting in. But hey, somebody tries to break into your house, they could do their Jedi thing that they do, and you're pretty much safe and sound. Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
You're in big trouble. It's possible we could be the pet.
Could be coming.
In this scenario.
Could be coming.
Right.
You never know.
There's been a couple of articles here, Dave Scott, in Spaced Out Radio. There's been a couple of articles. The New York Times is sort of all over this. The information that's coming, right? And
yes.
So can you catch up our audience about what some of this info that's been put out there is?
Absolutely. So for the last few weeks, the entire field of ufology had been waiting and eagerly anticipating a conversation and a story on UFOs in the New York Times, written by Pulitzer Prize winner Ralph Blumenthal and freelance writer Leslie Kane. Now, these are the two people, along with Helene Cooper, who broke the story back in December of 2017 with the 3 UFO videos, or UAP videos. Well, they did another story last week, and it caught fire. Okay, and this story was very much predicated and expected. That we were talking about that the U.S. government, when they said that they had been not looking into UFOs, well, they admitted that they did. They admitted that there is a program still in the alphabet agencies that still looks for unidentified flying objects, and that Marco Rubio, as we talked last week, has really wants to put taxpayer funding into this project to find out whether or not these UAPs, as they call them, or unidentified aerial phenomena, are of any sort of threat, whether they are from this world or somewhere else. And so this article also interviewed the former senator of Nevada, Mr. Harry Reid. Now, he was quoted on Thursday of last week, stating, "After looking into this, I came to the conclusion that there were reports, some were substantive, some not so substantive, that there were actual materials that the government and the private sector had in their possession," talking about UAP crash retrievals, meaning we may have pieces of spaceship that the military has been trying to figure out. Now, controversy, as per usual in the UFO field. The next day, Reid went crazy. Not crazy, but I'm exaggerating here, saying that he was misquoted. Okay? He says that he did not say that crashes had occurred and that retrieval materials had been studied secretly for decades. An earlier version also misstated the frequency with which the Director of National Intelligence is supposed to report on unidentified aerial phenomena. Okay? He then went on his own Twitter account, lambasting the article for being misquoted and saying this has nothing to do with little green men. Now, you've been a reporter for a long time. I've been a reporter for a long time. When you go into an interview, what do you bring with you? You bring something that is recordable, right? A microphone, digital recorder, things like that.
Typically. You got a photographic memory, which most people don't.
Well, you're one of them special broadcasters, and because I sure as heck do not. But the whole point that I'm getting...
No, I don't have one. I'm hoping you did. But
yeah, not me. Not even close. But the big thing for this, Shane, is this. Any reporter, whether they're a scribe, whether they're on radio, whether they're on television, you're always recording. You don't want to be misquoted. And when you're dealing with topics this sensitive, which involve the government or in other cases involve corporations, okay, you want to make sure you get your quotes right. Otherwise, that's a legal breakfast for, the lawyers of whomever. You know what I'm saying? And in this case, I cannot see a former Pulitzer Prize winner, which is the top award in journalism, okay, not recording that interview. And this is where a lot of the debate is going on right now, because Harry Reid, the senator, came out very strong about this. And then all of a sudden, the New York Times writers are saying, well, we didn't get the quote wrong. And now the debate continues. The New York Times has to write the retraction, and the reporters end up taking the heat because their name is on the story, when there's a number of reasons why that may or may not have happened. So, trying to explain this to people in the UFO field who really do not understand how the media works in the background, it's been daunting, but we're making it through. So, interesting point number 3. The New York Times comes out with another article today regarding, do we believe in UFOs? And that's the wrong question, because so many people equate UFOs to aliens. And what they're saying is you cannot equate UFOs to aliens. But the funny part about it is the people who have had extraterrestrial experiences, every UFO deals with aliens. And if they aren't human, and if they believe these craft are not human, where do they come from? Something alien has to be controlling them. It's another great debate that has stirred up ufology into a frenzy, and that's where we sit right now.
So did they ask what the question should be? Because the headline was very, very clear. Do we believe in UFOs? That's the wrong question. So what should we be believing in? Is it that clear, that, or as simple as the alien stuff versus the UFOs?
Well, the problem is they go on and state, this was an article by Blumenthal and Keene again, who go on and state, no, we do not believe in UFOs. And then they use words of wisdom from Margaret Mead, who came out and said belief has nothing to do or has to do with matters of faith. It has nothing to do with the kind of knowledge that is based on scientific inquiry. So basically what they're doing is they're handing it off to the scientific community and saying, look, you as scientists need to tell us whether or not this is of alien descent or of human manufacturing. And until then, we can't say what it is. So basically, the way I felt in this article is that they were almost standing up to the UFO field saying, look, we're not your heroes, we're your anti-heroes. Stop bugging us. Stop trying to press us for information. UFOs aren't real. We know that UAPs are, even though they're the same darn thing. And let's let the scientists and the military and the governments tell us what it is, because that's what we're interested in. We're not interested in someone like Travis Walton who gets abducted for 5 days, or people along those lines who have all of these extraterrestrial experiences that there is really no physical proof to. It's almost insulting in a way.
There's a part of this about, well, and there's a part that there's a piece of this for me that was, it was one of the quotes. It was the Margaret Mead quote in the article that had to do with belief, right?
Yes.
Belief has to do with matters of faith, right? And I found that really interesting to look at it, because so in what is sort of many people's minds mystical, right? And in other people's minds, this is very factual, very tangible, right? And so once it becomes so confusing in the way it's communicated by whoever's researching it or redacting what they're doing or, reevaluating and pulling back, it sort of crosses out from what is tangible and real into sort of this mystical thing again. And it doesn't do anybody any favors who are trying to just get to the bottom of the fact, look, is there a UFO junkyard somewhere where they're trying to reverse engineer, the flux capacitor.
Exactly.
So it doesn't do anybody any favors, but at the same time, that one quote also hit me on the other side. It says, the very first line, it's a longer quote, belief has to do with matters of the faith. Well, if you're going to believe in it, truly believe in it, you have to stick to it. You have to be there no matter what, no matter who is there spinning it. Some people are in it for just agenda, for popularity, and some people are truly there because they want to know. So it kind of works on both sides. So I was curious, how do you dig through this in your world, to be able to take that and just try to reassure everybody, look, they're on the right track. This is more information, because the information that they say will come out, there's more information here. Do we just wait, or do we just not trust the government anymore anyway? Because they seem to be spinning on everything.
Well, and the best advice I can give to people who are tuned in to you and my listeners as well is stay away from UFO Twitter. It is horrible right now. I mean, that is the biggest bench clearing brawl that I've ever seen. And I've seen a few of those back in the hockey days. I think we all have, and it's not fun. It's very insulting. It's very demeaning. It's very disgusting and disturbing at times, with accusations of research and credibility and everything that goes along. It's really child's play. In my opinion, there are some brilliant researchers out there that are pushing hard for this subject. But I think looking at this article, especially this one, that, we shouldn't call them UFOs. I think what they're really trying to do is they are trying to push even further a narrative of pushing the UFO, or in this case, UAP topic, away from the UFO community. Now, a lot of people who may not be familiar with that, Shane, they are two separate things. The UFO community already believes that there are spaceships and black triangles and disc-shaped and cigar-shaped craft coming down here. We have people who believe they had ET contact, all right? Whereas the UAP community, which is more military, more governmental in the research, more scientific, really is trying to figure out, what is this technology? Where did it come from? Where did it go? Okay, how did it get here if it's not from Russia, China, or any potential adversary on this planet? And that's what they're trying to find out. But I have said from the beginning over the last couple of years, and this is going to take a lot longer than just a couple of minutes, okay, but I have said for the last number of years that the way the media has been asking questions regarding this topic, the way that it has been presented to the public, it is very difficult to blend the two sides together, because the scientific community wants nothing to do with the UFO community. The UFO community does not believe the scientific community, because the scientific community is largely made up of government spooks who work for alphabet agencies, and it's a real hate-on between the two. And in the meantime, we're all trying to push this field forward, but we're pushing it in so many directions that a narrative has been created that we cannot control. And unfortunately, that narrative has led to a lot of missed opportunities in interviews to try and find out what the real story of what is flying in our sky above.
So let me ask you this question, because we're almost out of time.
Yes.
And I hope it's not too big. So think outside the box. But what if the thinking is the box, right? So if we say think outside the box, but thinking is the actual box, that means we have a big fat blind spot in this, Dave Scott.
Yes.
So what do you think our blind spot is that we're missing?
I can answer that easily. It's the media. The media has never wanted this story on either side of the border. All right. And let's put it on a Canadian perspective quickly here, because I know we got to go. All right. Every media outlet in Canada has played the videos from the United States of the UFOs. Not one single reporter in this country has asked any Canadian politician, what do you think about UFOs? What is Canada's role in UFOs? When you are dropping the ball on questions like that in Canada or in the United States about things like Roswell, okay, you've admitted you have been investigating this for decades. Tell me what happened at Roswell. Tell me what happened on March 13th, 1997 over Phoenix, Arizona with the Phoenix Lights. No reporter is asking the questions, because no reporter out there has believed this story, and they've been caught with their pants down, and it's the media's fault on this. I know the media is easy to blame. You and I are a part of it, but when we see people who are not doing their jobs properly, we need to be able to call them out, because they're missing a major story.
Spaced Out Radio. Dave Scott, thank you very much for the time, sir.
I always appreciate your time. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Next week, same.
All right, let's get to it, shall we? Let's lighten this up a bit. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR News Wire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the prosthetic. What? An amputee who lost his prosthetic leg while skydiving has been reunited with his limb thanks to a sharp-eyed Vermont farmer who found it intact among his crops. Chris Marcaris said he was in for a tandem jump this past weekend at Vermont Skydiving Adventures in Addison. Didn't realize until he was safely on the ground that his prosthetic leg was missing. I think my adrenaline was so high, and I was just so excited, I didn't realize that it had fallen off, he says. So he put a Facebook post out there pleading for local residents to keep an eye out for his missing leg, because replacing it is quite expensive. Well, the post came to the attention of the West Addison farmer, a guy named Joe, whose property is located near Vermont Skydiving Adventures. He searched his property and congratulations, he found the leg. Completely intact, seems to have incurred only a few minor scratches. The running shoe was okay, and it was just sitting there among his crops. I was very grateful to have found it without running it over with a machine this fall during harvest, said Farmer Joe, or God forbid, the combine sucked it up, it would have destroyed it. Yeah, so Joe meets up with good old Chris here, presents him back his leg, and Chris says, I can't thank everybody enough, especially Joe. We kind of take for granted sometimes how truly good people there are still out in this world. Isn't that nice? Good for him. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What's the best hard rock heavy metal band in your world? Jason, School of Rock and Tenacious D for me. Serena, I'm tapped out. Joe Dredd? I don't know. Chris, Lamb of God. Saw them in concert opening up for Metallica. Glurp, it's really hard to pick, but Manila Road is my favorite. Iron Maiden, Halloween, honorable mentions. Mike, Iron Maiden, no explanation needed. Alex Mistranda, Audio Slave, good choice. Robert loves Judas Priest. Tom, hands down, their catalog and achievement and longevity is unequaled. All right. JJ loves Iron Maiden. Joe, down in Texas from UFO Garage, great podcast. Oh, yeah, Motorhead. Lemmy is God. Oh, absolutely. And, of course, you can never mistake Pantera out of Texas. Oh, Dimebag and Vinny, God bless them. Great musicians. Thunderbeat, she loves Led Zeppelin. Greg wants more Rush. Slipknot for Aaron. Where else are we going? AC/DC for Joe Dredd. Iron Maiden for Davey. And then Zeppelin. Lots of Iron Maiden on here. And for me, there's only one band and one band only. They created the greatest song ever, Paradise City, Guns N' Roses. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day, Captain Shirk for the news, and a great guest tonight in Susan Masino. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody in our chat rooms tonight and tuning us in wherever you may be. You made it a very, very special and fun night for us.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
Make a mistake, we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Remember, everybody, the Woo train has docked for the night, but tomorrow we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, guess what? We got room for them too. Good night. Solid radio tonight, people. Solid radio. You guys played a good job in this one. Solid radio. Give yourselves a hand. Way to go, people. Way to go. We did well tonight. We did very well tonight. That was a power show. Absolute power show. Seriously. We did friggin' incredible tonight. Incredible. That's a good show. Oh my gosh. That one makes me happy. Makes me real happy. Oh yeah. I am very pleased with this one. Very, very pleased with this one. That's a good solid show. Fuck yeah. We've been having a lot of those lately. Oh yeah. We've been having a ton of those. We've been fortunate. Totally, totally fortunate. All right, so let's go here. No, we don't need to go there. We can just do this. You know, it's weird. I still think this is weird. I haven't been in sports media since 2007. And I literally still get emails from the media crew with the Vancouver Canucks. I think that's funny. I'll be right back, everyone. Stay tuned. We still got the after show. I'm done, okay? Love you, bye. All right, sorry about that. Sorry. I'm actually normally I don't take that much time, as you know. My beautiful stepdaughter came to me or called me up and needed to have some fatherly advice. And her dad, her biological dad, really isn't in the picture, and he never really has been. But that's a private story. But she just needed some dad advice, and it's one of the rare times that she's like, Dad, I need some advice on what to do. So was that phone call, and that was pretty fucking cool. Pretty damn cool, because I don't get a lot of that being the stepdad. You know, and for you step parents out there, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm pretty happy right now. So I just had to give my daughter some advice in teenage drama that was stirred up with her friends, and she's all feeling a little picked on and everything. So I'm pretty happy, man, that she reached out. That was a real adult thing to do on her part. So that was cool. That was really cool. Really cool. Pretty happy about that. Yeah. So I apologize that you guys had to all suffer and wondering where the hell I was, but I'm pretty happy right now. That's a big dad moment for me. Big dad moment. Yeah. Fucking A. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm feeling really, really tall right now. Feeling very tall right now. Very proud. Oh, my stomach just growled. Did you hear that? Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, especially over the last couple of months, my daughter has made some pretty boneheaded teenage decisions. And I'll keep that. I'll just leave it at that. So for her to come to dear old stepdad for some advice on what to do, that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I will enjoy this night as a major victory for me on the family level. That is fucking great. I'm just so happy right now. Hey, Pleiadian Starseed, how are you? Good to have you here. The mosquitoes were attacking me. I'm not gonna lie, they were attacking me, but that's okay. That's quite okay. It was worth it. So now I got to hurry up and call her back. So it's like, I got to get this done. Like, you can't have this conversation right now. And she's like, I need to have this conversation. I'm like, all right, let's do this thing. It's like, yeah. Double thinking your career right now. Going into medical, or you are in medical, Pleiadian? Oh, thank you on the hair compliment. Good night, Devin. Have a great night, man. Thank you for tuning in. God, I'm happy right now. I'm so friggin' happy right now. Oh, it's all recorded of that too. Get out of that. Don't need that. All right. And this bird you cannot change. No, no, I can't change. And this bird you cannot change. All right, let's get this thing started, shall we? All right, get your verification code ready, people, because it is almost that time of the night once again. Once again. Where is this? Where's that folder? What the hell happened to it? There it is. All right, so make sure you get your six-digit code going. All right, because here we go. It's that time. 604-897. 604-897 is your code. Use it wisely, because we are transferring. I'm as free as a bird now. And this bird you cannot change. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Who's a gold digger? Are you talking about Bieber's wife? She comes from money. If I know Teresa, she's talking about Bieber's wife. What did I get from Freebird? To me, the song is about death, and that it's okay to let go and just let things ride. Okay? It's okay to just let things go and let it ride. And sometimes you can't stay as much as you want to stay and maybe patch things up or say, I'm sorry. Maybe that's not the path of the journey you were on at that time. So you have to just let it go, and you just have to spread your wings and allow yourself to fly wherever you need to go. And that's the message I got out of it. I could be completely wrong on the definition of the song, but that's kind of what it means to me. I'm okay with that. Damn it, this froze. Son of a gun. All right, let's see if this will work now. Seems to be moving a little bit better. Oh, maybe not. Probably not working because of that. Close out that. Free bird. Free bird. I think I'm hungry. If your daughter gets a job at Taco Bell, she better forward some shit up here very, very quick there, Corrance. All right, that's uploaded. That's one. Close that out. All right, everybody, we are in the home stretch here. And I'm going to say good night. Tomorrow night we have Bill Hauser live Ghost Box sessions. And we are going to be doing it all again tomorrow. And same time, same place. Get your pen and paper ready. And we're going to have fun. We always have fun with Bill, so I look forward to it. Much love to all of you for hanging on out with us. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you to everybody who participated in the super chat tonight. That means the world to me. I really do appreciate that help. And don't